Yep, well, okay.
Yep, well, okay.
Okay.
Are we in now?
Let's do it.
Oh, all right.
Welcome to What We Into. I'm your host, Lawrence Dial.
And I'm your boy, Rob Karma Robinson.
And we are here in week 20.
Week 20 on May? Is it May 1st?
Is it? Well, we skipped a week is the problem.
But is it May 1st?
It is May 1st.
So
yeah,
May 1st?
Wait, if you do the knuckle thing, it goes January, February, March, April, May. So May has 31, but April has 30. Or I'll just look at my...
The knuckle thing? I don't...
You don't know. Okay, so
no.
hold out your hand, your knuckle, right?
I understand the concept of holding up, but I don't understand why your knuckles are... Oh, your knuckles and the space between them represent the month?
Yeah, so the knuckle is...
Is that how they taught you the...
No, but the knuckle is 31 days. In between, like the crevice, the valley of the knuckle is 30. So it goes January, February, which is actually 28. March, April, May, June, July, August. I guess July and August are both 31 days. I don't know. Now I feel very self-conscious if that's actually accurate
I learned
or not.
it by a little rhyme called 30 days have September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31, except for February, because it's a black month. I'm pretty sure that's how it goes.
My baby's in the backseat, reading a magazine. I'm in the front seat, picking up a dirty stain.
I would say move the mic. Oh, you know what you need to do? Move the mic, even though we just started podcast. See how it's facing you this way? You're going to get the pops, so you got to move it.
Am I going to get the pops? I thought
just stay right there. I'll move it for you.
Don't
flinch.
So, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm going to describe to you is Lawrence has left his seat where he is podcasting to move my microphone just so, and which completely changes the sound in my opinion.
You're also speaking to the back of the mic. This is where the plug-in is.
It hasn't. I'm pretty sure I've been speaking this way for the past 20 weeks, ladies and gentlemen. Well, technically 21 because we skipped a week.
We'll fix it in post.
Yeah, hashtag fix it in post. Our favorite line on this show.
Spiked there. You're just spiking all over the place.
Yeah, that's what
you know
I do.
Let's close those little things.
Now you want to close them. Now you want to close them. You were the one who told me to open them. You was the one who told me to open them.
We have this.
Now you see, I show up and I do me, and then I get these notes about the way I do me, and then you're like, no, just do you again. Just do you again. All right, man.
Go back to just doing whatever you were doing before.
Is this to your liking?
That
is it better now?
Yeah.
Am I coming in clearer? Can you hear me?
But last week's episode was so good because it was just perfectly like. It was level. I didn't have to go in and like tweak things like 20 times.
Well, now you might have to.
Now
you played around with the
messed around. Actually, that's my general philosophy for you, like in real life. Just let him do his thing. Let him go.
I feel like that's most people's philosophy for me in life. They're just like, yo, leave that crazy motherfucker alone.
Like, legit, early on in the podcasting scheduling, I was like, he doesn't get back to me. He doesn't respond. Now I'm just like, you know what? He'll get to me when he gets to me. Maybe we'll do it. Maybe we'll record on Wednesday. You to know,
it's not personal. I love you. It's just that the world is falling in around my neck. So it's hard to just pick up the phone and be, I'll answer that soon. Yeah, I got to be Atlas, bro.
Atlas, baby.
My hands.
You were Sisyphus when you came in.
I was, and now we're just making our way to the pantheon.
Every Greek god.
I
gotta be Zeus.
I gotta be Zeus at 4:30. So you better wrap this shit up.
I gotta make lightning strike every day, or else it's over for me.
I gotta go fuck with some mortals and maybe sleep with a bird. I don't know.
If I'm fast like Achilles. No, Achilles isn't fast, but it's Mercury.
I mean, Shazam, basically.
Just got my Achilles heel.
I'm trying to run through the letters of Shazam every day.
Right. I like from that you were like you went with Alita or Attila.
No, it was Athena.
And then you're like, wait a minute,
blatantly that they were never going to be.
Of course, it's not a woman.
It's never going to be a woman.
You're going to put a woman in Shazam's name.
Shazam's name.
No. Oh my god.
Heaven forfend.
Well, this is week 20. It was a big week. We actually took a week off.
We took a week off, yeah, which we hadn't done. Have we done that before?
No, we stressed and like made it really hard on ourselves and did every week, and then just randomly was like, you know what? Let's just take a week off because we needed to decompress after Avengers Endgame.
I think tell the people the truth, bro. You wanted to go to a water park with your kids and your wife.
Did.
That's all they had to say.
I went to a super trashy ass water park.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh man, you got to tell a story, man.
Okay.
Because All right, one of the reasons we didn't record last week because we went and saw Avengers Thursday night, which is awesome.
Instead of recording, we're like, let's just go see a movie.
Just different corners of the theater.
I took like pretty much from Thursday till about now. I just took a vacation. I'm starting dude. Thursday. I'm taking 4 days.
That's great. But then, what typically what we would have recorded on, we typically record on Thursday or Friday.
Yeah.
And because we went and saw Avengers on Thursday, what would have happened is we would have come in and probably recorded on Friday. But my man Larry, like he just finished saying, he needed a vacay. So he went to the water park on Friday. Where-wise, all the W's, bro.
Yeah, so this water park is in Pennsylvania. It's called the Great Wolf Lodge. And somebody had the smart idea that if they made...
You said the Great Wolf Lodge?
Yeah, Great Wolf.
Okay.
You know, like...
Game of Thrones like.
Yeah, like dire wolves. Yeah, like seriously, like...
Go to the lodge. Great Wolf Lodge. Great Wolf Lodge. They've got lots of water. They've got lots of fun.
So somebody had the great idea that like, if they were going to make a gigantic water park, make it indoors...
This is awesome.
And then connect it to a hotel, and then pretty much situate it in a town that nobody ever goes to, so that you're kind of like locked into this hotel where the only things to eat are pizza, like the buffet, or like chicken fingers.
This shit sounds like a horror movie. That sounds like the start of a horror movie.
It was kind of horrific and awesome. So I'm keep it brief, but basically it's like a trashy. I want to say white trash, but it wasn't white trash. It's very diverse, but very trashy.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh,
so like you know when like you're in the indoor pool and you're looking around and you're by far like the skinniest person out of like 200 or 300 people.
So you and your family
either
were
made a
super
great
fit.
mistake or stumbled upon something great.
Go to the lodge. Great Wolf Lodge.
Okay, so it's an indoor water park. You stay in this hotel. Like inside the room, there was like a little wolf den for the kids, which was like fake like plastic rocks. And it had like bunk beds. And the hotel was actually really nice. Like not really nice, but it was nice. I mean, for like I think it was
What kind of hotel was it?
It was connected. It was a hotel connected to a water
So
park.
it didn't even have a name. It was like a Radisson.
No, it was a Great Wolf Lodge.
Oh, so it was one of these standalone type.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a franchise or anything.
I should have looked into the history, but I just did not care.
Great.
But
Okay.
now that I think about it, they probably put up the hotel first.
And then built the water park
put
as
like,
an addition?
Yeah, and put like a...
So how big is this water park?
It's got at least 6 water slides indoors.
Big ones.
Yeah, well, 2 of them are like little kiddie water slides. 2 of them are like medium size, and then the other... No, it's got more than that. Then the other 4 are like big adult
Gigantic,
size.
adult ones.
Yeah, and what was great about the kids is like Daisy is now the official age. Like we could just send them out into the water park, and they could go down any slide that they wanted. You know, they could, because there was 2 of them, they could get like the floats and like get on the float like that you do with the family. They could do that by themselves.
Cool.
It was great, but also really trashy. Like it was lawless.
Okay. Did you have a good time? Did you yourself, not
Yes.
the girls, not the family, did Larry, because it was a vacation like you just said, did you feel relaxed and vacate?
Yes.
Okay, mission accomplished.
But I also felt like there was something missing, and I think that something was you. which there's a lot of family outings I have.
Bruh.
Now some of them I'm like, this is just me and my wife. This is perfect.
Right.
There's a lot of them where I'm like, Rob would slip perfectly into this.
That shit is my wheelhouse. When you told me you were going, I was like, that sounds awesome. And then you told me it was indoor, and I was like, well, that sounds less awesome. And then you told me you were like, I'm going with the family. I was like, yeah, that could still be awesome.
Yeah. Okay, so there's really nothing to do in the hotel. So you just wake up, and your kids, it's like 9 in the morning. Your kids are like, let's go to the water park. And you couldn't just
Is that what you did? Did you wake up at 9 and go to the water park?
Pretty much, but we like stalled because it's like our vacation. We're like getting out of bed at 9 and like. So you get up and you get out to the water park. But what they have there is they have like a little bar, and it's lawless. There's like
Seriously?
no rules.
Like an actual
Yes.
Wow.
Like, so you know how you go to the pool here in New York, and they're like, you got to wear a white T-shirt. There can be no writing on it.
Mad rules.
Like they're like they're coming from a point, I guess, in time where like gangs like roamed the pools, and like you couldn't wear gang colors, you couldn't have any symbol. I mean, I don't know what the history of New York and pools is, but they are super fucking
Segregation,
strict.
probably.
Yeah, maybe segregation. Who knows?
I
don't know. You tell me.
I grew up here, and I never went to a public pool ever.
Okay,
it was not a thing when I grew up.
You're a black man who can swim, right?
Yeah, relatively.
That's not convincing.
I mean, look. If a boat went down and I was on it, I'm making it to shore. I don't know how the rest of you motherfuckers are getting there, but
can you do the strokes? Can you do like the freestyle?
Yes, I can.
stroke?
I can stroke, but I can't float.
I know you can stroke.
I can stroke, motherfucker.
I know you can.
I can stroke like a man.
Can you do?
But I don't float.
You can probably do the breath. I can't float either. Some people just can't float. Or your body chemistry
I
is
sink to the bottom of most pools.
Yeah.
Like I had multiple teachers try to teach me how to just lay on your back and fill your lungs with air, and you're supposed to float.
Yeah.
Not me.
Yeah.
I go right to the
Me
bottom
too.
like a stone.
But Laurel can she can just, and my
Lounge
kids can
out.
just lay out and they just float.
Yeah.
I think
I don't understand it.
they don't have the years of living that we have.
They don't have the weight of the world.
the weight of the
crushing them
world
into a
crushing
diamond.
them. Exactly.
So-
It's like you're fucking heavy. You're going down to the bottom.
Atlas.
So anyway, so they have like a bar there, and you can just go up and before I get into
Wristbands.
that, they give you a bracelet, right? And it unlocks the room to your door.
That's cool.
But you can also charge anything in the hotel
To the bracelet? That's cool.
So you don't need to carry around a wallet or dollar bills.
I think that's dope.
It's awesome. So you can just walk up to the bar,
Beep, beep.
beep, grab a beer, and then walk anywhere in the water park.
That sounds awesome.
Like,
It sounds awesome and lawless and unsafe as fuck.
I didn't see anybody go down a water slide with
a beer. That would have been my first thing.
but you absolutely, because it's just
That
like
would've been my
16-year-olds at the top being like, go. Beep, 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 beep.
That would have been rule number one for me. I'm taking this beer down that slide
So,
right now.
in a weird way, it was this missed opportunity because I was like, man, Rob should have been here. Because, I was with my kids. But if you had been there, we would have gotten a lot rowdier, for sure.
Oh, definitely.
Laurel and I were just tired. Because there's also something about a water park. You go up and down like 3 or 4 water slides.
you're done.
You're exhausted.
Well, I mean, okay, I think when I say you're done if you're our age.
Yes, exactly.
You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
When you're a little more ran through, you know what I'm saying? But I can remember being at a water park when I was like Penn's age, maybe a little older, and like sun up to sun down.
Yeah.
I was.
Did your parents
I
just
wrote all
let
of
you
them.
go? Because my parents would just drop me off. Like, here's $20. See you
we
later.
we come from the generation of kids who I don't know how some of us survived because our parents were just like, leave us alone. Call us when you need a ride. We don't want to fucking hear about it. Don't get arrested.
And that was a version of what this was, because there was a certain area that had the hot pool, not
okay.
the sauna. Jesus, what the word I'm thinking of.
Jacuzzi.
Yeah, the jacuzzi, basically. It was like a gigantic jacuzzi, 98 degrees, and you could just sit in there and soak and try not to think about how much gross stuff is. The water was gross, bro.
Yeah, of course it was.
mean, but coming
it's a water park.
But coming from New York pools, it's no dirtier than New York pools. I gotta be
You
real.
say that.
Like, you put on goggles in a New York pool, there's like Band-Aids floating around the bottom. Like,
Jesus.
You know, like cat hairballs floating around. I mean, you don't know, like fingernails.
That's probably why I never went to the public pools.
What is in my mouth? Oh, it's a fingernail. Bro.
Is that a syringe?
Some used like maxi pads.
Oh,
You don't know what you're gonna find at the bottom of your pool.
Jesus.
So in general, the water was about that clean, but it had a weird like saltiness to it that like immediately told you, don't put this in your mouth.
That's called human bodies
Yeah.
rinsing themselves thoroughly.
And all posted around was like little signs like,
Don't
please
drink the
shower
water.
before you get in the pool. Like,
shower
yeah,
before you get
Well, that's
in?
what you have to do in New York. You haven't been to a New York pool in a long time.
Never.
Like, they won't even let you out onto the little, like, walkway to get to the pool if your hair is not wet and you're not slicked down with,
you
like,
serious?
water. Yeah. Oh, yeah. It's super strict. I'll take you there this summer.
Why?
With the kids.
I don't understand. Why?
Because they are just really strict. I think for
About
a long...
being wet before you get into something wet.
Yeah.
That's weird.
Being washed before you get into something wet.
That's weird.
Yeah. Well, if
Well,
you were...
why? What's the impetus? They don't want like people to wash themselves in the pool. Like they don't want you like running a marathon and then coming in and just jumping straight into the pool.
I don't know why. There's like this sense of like that everybody's dirty.
I have never heard that. Like, and I've gone to public pools, not here in New York, but like in Texas, we had the neighborhood pool or whatever.
Yeah.
It would open seasonally, and that was never a thing. You show up.
No,
and just get
exactly.
in the pool.
That's why people who come from not in New York come to New York, and then they go to the pool and they're like, "What? The fuck? You can't even take your phone onto the deck, on the pool deck." Yeah, like, crazy.
That's weird.
You have to wear a white shirt. You can bring a book.
You have to wear a white shirt.
You have to wear a white shirt or no shirt. Any colored shirt, like a green shirt, or like your shirt, or like my shirt, they won't let you wear it.
So you could show up to the pool, with your to-do, your blankets, your whatever, and you're wearing your shirt with the Q106 shirt.
Yeah.
And they won't let you in.
They won't let you in. You got to take your shirt off, put it in a locker. You have to wear...
What if you're a girl? Same thing for girls?
Same thing, yeah.
It has to be a white shirt, or you have to not be wearing a shirt.
Yeah, and the only thing I can think of is, like, gang activity, like, from back in the day, man. Like, why else would they let...
That makes no sense.
I feel like, in my mind, I've created this, like, narrative around New York pools where it was like the Warriors. And it was like, let's all meet up at the pool. Yeah, there was all these different gangs, and every day somebody gets stabbed in the pool. You know what I mean? And finally they were like, you know what? We're shutting the pools down. They're done. And then they lay dormant for like 5 years.
You think that'd be a good play to write? You should write that.
And then
the Warrior version of the pool game.
Because back in the day when you were a little kid, it was kind of like that in your mind.
I mean, in my mind, it was...
But it was like girls, like gangs of girls
I'm trying
versus...
to think of the last time I went to a pool with, like, parental supervision. And I feel like it was, like, never. Like, well, from a don't drown.
Yeah, from a parent perspective, there's like a few years till about, like, when your kids can swim, depending on how old they are. But there's about 3 or 4 years where it's like, we got to keep a super watch on our kids because they'll just drop in there and they'll drown. But once you get out of that phase, it's mostly just like, let's just chill. Beach is a little different because you don't want your kids to get sucked into the water, so you're kind of keeping an eye on them. But this place at the Great Wolf Lodge was just like, run free, children.
It's like the Wild Wild West for water parks.
Yeah, we found where the bar is. We're in the jacuzzi. You know what I mean?
So where did you end up spending most of your time?
In the hot tub. Yeah, in the hot tub. But then you get out of the hot tub, you're exhausted, and the only option is like buffet food or like really bad like dollar slice style pizza or worse. I ended up the first night ordering Chinese food, which was just like broccoli and like carrots and it was way better than any other option.
Yikes!
The second night we went and got hibachi.
Okay.
I'm a waiter. I wait tables.
Got hibachi.
The guy who cooks your food for hibachi is basically a waiter who has to cook your food in front of you and entertain you while you're waiting for your food, while you're hangry, basically.
After prom, we went to Benihana's, so I know exactly what you're talking about. That's Benihana's.
And I am so in touch and tuned to waiter fatigue that I can look at a waiter's eyes and see
he's been here 17 hours.
I see his soul. Just not 17 hours, 17 years, bro. I can look at a waiter and be like, you've been here 3 years, you've been here 7 years, and you, motherfucker, have been here for 12 years. I know just by looking at your uniform, your shoes, and your little utility belt for hibachi.
You're like the waiter whisperer. You're like the Caesar Ramon of waiters.
I am, motherfucker. I am so attentive to every waiter that comes up. I don't miss a goddamn beat. Not a single thing. So when the waitress, after we're done with our meal, and the waitress is like, because it wasn't just the hibachi. The hibachi guy's the chef. He's like cooking your food in front of you. But there's also a waitress who takes your order. The chef comes out. He confirms your order and then cooks it right there in front of you. But the waitress... she comes out and she's like, okay, here's the check, and gratuity is included. 50% of that goes to our chefs. The other 50% I split with the busboys and the runners and all those things, just so you know.
Wow, they came out and gave you the spiel, huh?
Yeah, well, she was saying it because she knew. No, she didn't know, but I knew what she was saying, which was 50% of our tips go to these motherfuckers who cook your food in front of you. So if you tip us $20, I only get 10, and I split it with a busboy.
So I only get 5.
And there was like 17 busboys. If you've ever seen like at Benihana's, they just make a mess.
Yes,
these fucking chefs come out and chop, throwing shit everywhere, throwing fucking cucumbers at your face. It misses, bounces off, hits the wall. There's a busboy. There's like an individual busboy just to pick up the cucumber slices and all that shit. Wow. Yeah, so that was the second meal. Third meal, we were just like, you know what? We'll just skip it. We'll be back in New York in 6 hours. Everything was chicken fingers.
Wait, so you went up on Friday and you came back on what, Saturday?
We came back Sunday afternoon. Basically, checkout was at 11. We checked out. So we went and swam. The girls, they got like their 50th run. There was this one water slide where you're on a tube for like 4 people. And Daisy's like right at the limit. Like, if you were like a dick, you could be like, you're not tall enough. She's like just a quarter inch short.
Just there.
But when you're dealing with like a 6-year-old teenager, you know, they're like, yeah, whatever, go ahead. It's fine. It's fine.
Man,
What's the worst
I
that
get
could
$8
happen?
an hour. I don't care.
So you're sitting at the top in this tube, waiting for the red light to turn green to know that it's your turn to push off. Nobody's holding you back. At any moment,
So
you could.
So you don't even have to wait for the red light.
No,
you could be like,
could go,
I'm going.
and you definitely have the sense that nobody would chastise you. Nobody would say anything. So you're
This
just
sounds
waiting
like the
there.
greatest
and we're
water
sitting
park
there for
ever.
this. Yeah, it's lawless. We're waiting there, waiting for the red light to turn green, and 30 seconds go by, a minute goes by, a minute and a half, and finally the 16-year comes up like, you can go, the light's broken. And I mean, I guess the worst thing...
That's so awesome.
I guess, okay, so I'm trying to imagine, like, bad situations that could happen. You get stuck in the water park, or in the water slide, and somebody hits you, you know? You get to the bottom. Like, there was one moment, okay, there was a scary moment for me, where Daisy and I went down a water slide, which was fine, it was great, and actually very exciting. Like, it's a
water slide. Those things are awesome.
Even at 38 and a half, almost 39 years old, there's
those
still
things
the
are
rush
awesome.
of adrenaline.
Yeah.
If there wasn't 45 steps to get up to it, I'd be rushing up and waiting to meet you.
Exactly. Like, there's no redos when you gotta go up so many steps.
Like, I ate like shit, but I did triathlon level Stairmaster. I took like 7,000 steps. Anyway, so we go down this water slide, and Daisy comes off, and we're like kind of away, but she's like, oh, I dropped my goggles when I came off the water slide, because she immediately fell out. But Daisy was doing the thing that little kids do, where like they'll try any chance they can to like fall off.
It, right?
They'll fall off and flip off the thing.
Awesome.
And so I look at the lifeguard, and I'm like, oh, I think she dropped her things in there. She's like, yeah, go ahead. And I jump in, and then I can kind of see them, but it's like right in front of where another tube is going to come out. And I look up, and I see, this is before I realized the red light versus green light is just totally bullshit. So it's still red. So I'm like, okay, I'll just swim right in front of it. And right when I get right in front of it, I know I'm about to go down and get the things. I realize, holy shit, one of these guys could just come out at any moment. So I quickly get out of the way, and right behind me, shoosh, this tube comes out. And I look at the lifeguard like somehow I'm in trouble, like it was my fault. He does not give a fuck.
He gives no cares.
I mean,
gives no cares.
The lifeguards did care, but they didn't care if I get hit by anything. Their job was there just to make sure no little kid drowned. But as far as adults go, they're like, yeah, whatever.
That's on you.
You can get
should
chicken
know
fingers and like walk through like the little kiddie pool while eating chicken. I mean, it was just insane. Which I appreciated.
It sounds
so
equal
much.
parts amazing, equal parts. Oh my god,
Yeah.
where in the fuck did
It
you
was
go?
it was like what Republicans talk about, like the 1950s used to be before the government got involved. Make America great again.
So this water park is basically where all the
It's
Trump
MAGA.
supporters.
Oh yeah, and on the way back from Hibachi, there was definitely a Trumth Pence like sign up, and I was like,
man.
where are we? We're in Pennsylvania.
Pennsylvania.
Like 2 hours like northwest of New York, and there's a Trump Pence
Oh
sign?
yeah. Oh, Pennsylvania's gully. There's parts of Pennsylvania that are gully, bro.
I could go on and on about it.
Yeah, but we should jump into some fucking news, dude, because that is amazing. I love that we took the first 25 minutes to talk about this because it was worth it.
It's Channel 4 News at 6 o'clock.
Fox, some of the multiple Fox films that Disney acquired during their merger or during their buyout of Fox have now been canceled.
Like what? I heard something about this recently.
So this was a $71.3 billion deal. Mm-hmm. Like, just wrap your mind about
Around that number?
Yeah.
71.3
$3 billion.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With a B.
So In-Game just made $1 billion, over $1,200,000 in their first
4-5 days?
Or 200 million. 1
Well,
billion, 200 million.
They made 350 domestic, which crushed
Yeah.
everything here, and then like 1 billion worldwide.
Yeah.
In 4 days.
This deal when basically Disney bought out Fox so they could have Family Guy
Canon.
and Simpsons and the rights to the X-Men
Everything.
for $71 billion. Whoa.
I almost was like, where did Disney get that kind of bread?
They just bought Lucasfilm.
I was like, where did Disney get that kind of bread?
They bought Star Trek
Oh,
or Star Wars
right.
for what? 2, 3, 4 billion?
Yeah,
Something like that?
Yeah,
Yeah.
A lot of their major acquisitions these last couple of years have been in the billions. Range.
I guess that's how old we are. We went from millions to billions.
Well, it's crazy to me. Like, how long has Walt Disney been around? Like the Disney company, like less than 100 years.
Yeah.
Less than, let's say maybe 60 years. Because how old was Walt when he died? When was the first Disneyland?
No idea. Disneyland. Well, I mean, I wouldn't
What,
say
the
when-
50s?
Yeah,
It opened in the 50s, right? So
Yeah.
it's been about 60, maybe 70 years.
I'll look it up.
It
here.
took less than a century for for Disney's name to monopolize almost all entertainment.
1955, July 17th. Yeah,
So
less than
100 years.
75 years.
75 years.
Yeah.
And he's monopolized almost all entertainment.
Yeah,
That's crazy to me.
I like that it's him. He's doing
Oh,
it.
he did that shit.
He did it.
Oh,
Right?
he's probably still alive. I'm on the
They froze him, right?
Yeah, they froze him.
Yeah.
Cryogenically, for sure. Oh yeah.
Demolition Man stuff.
Demolition. Yeah. I like the circle back. I like the circle back.
And we're done.
That's great.
Yeah.
That's
So
it.
Oh,
I forgot to take my dog tags off, so you're gonna have to fix
cling,
that in
cling,
post.
cling, cling,
You have to fix
cling.
that in post, man.
Yeah, so $71 billion. Some of the movies, so they were in the process. Fox was making some movies that Disney was like, you know what, you guys,
We want all of these.
had you been more successful, we would not be buying you out right now. So
And do you think it was a success thing? I feel like I don't think any of those companies were doing that bad. Were they doing badly? I mean, because
Well-
they owned all this. They already owned the rights to all this stuff. I just think that the number was so 71
I know.
billion, bro.
you know their shareholders were like, and their
like,
board
no,
dudes were like,
take
yeah,
that shit.
oh, that's
No,
a
no,
lot
take
of
that
money,
shit.
you guys. We'll take a check.
Like it seems to me like I don't feel like any of the companies that Disney bought were doing badly. I just feel like the number that Disney had posted was so ridiculous.
Well, they weren't doing as good as think about the X-Men movies. Those are not anywhere near what the Marvel movies are doing.
They're not, and that's because of a lot of factors to do with the people that they've
Yes.
brought in to make those films.
Yeah, which is still Fox. It's still them. They still suck.
They like I don't have which leads me to I don't really have high hopes for Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
I honestly was not a fan of those X-Men movies. Starting with First Class, they weren't that good.
No, I mean, they weren't that good, but they weren't that bad. They were still something you
Right.
could smoke a joint to,
Right.
sit on your couch,
Fair
watch
enough.
and be like,
That's fair.
whoa, there's some fire, there's explosions.
That's fair, but that's what you say for DC.
Yes.
That's what you say for DC.
I think
not for a Marvel property. Not for a Marvel property in the
agree.
last 10 years. No. There should be no. Oh, that's fine.
Poor
There should
DC.
no. Fuck DC. They had their chance.
Where do the X-Men movies stack up to you compared to DC? Are they
the
better
X-Men
or
movies
worse?
are definitely better than almost everything out of the DC canon.
With
almost all
exception
of it.
to Wonder
With the
Woman.
exception of Wonder Woman.
Yeah.
And I think that's it.
What else?
That's literally
I don't know.
it.
I like Man of Steel. We talked about it numerous times.
Okay, all right. Man of Steel has yes. Man of Steel with caveats. Man of Steel with caveats.
Yeah.
Yes.
We'll talk about Endgame's huge battles, but I still thought some of the stuff in Man of Steel was awesome.
Man of Steel, and I've said this on the podcast, had some of the best on-screen meta-human fighting sequences I'd ever seen.
Yeah.
You could actually see them doing meta-human shit, with the same speed and alacrity that you would expect someone who is super powered to have.
Yeah.
And you could actually follow it and track it. There was a lot of times in Endgame.
We're going to do a spoiler thing and spoiler free, but yes,
Okay.
I know what you're on, and we'll come back to.
Okay.
So they were Fox and was gonna make a movie called Mouse Guard.
Mouse Guard.
Yep, and then a Tom Hanks movie called News of the World, and then another one called On the Come Up, which I think is by the same guy or same girl who did The Hate You Give. Is that a guy or a girl?
Okay, yeah.
Which
I
I didn't see.
think it was
Angie Thomas.
Yes,
Yeah.
it was a woman.
So those movie got canceled. There was another movie called Fruit Loops, which had Woody Harrelson in it that got canceled.
Was it the Toucan Sam story? I wouldn't be facetious. I would generally want to know.
What? That's like making a movie out of Sonic the Hedgehog, which is also like.
Did you see it?
Yes, its teeth are crazy.
Shit.
There's a trailer for Sonic the Hedgehog. I didn't even watch the trailer. I just saw pictures.
Did.
And
I watched the shit out of the trailer.
What was that like,
bruh? Honestly, I had mixed feelings because I could easily see this being a. Well, I feel like with Detective Pikachu not too far from release,
which looks okay.
If you think the Detective Pikachu looks okay, then Sonic is fair game. I'm
Okay.
sorry, that's how I feel.
Okay,
and the cat James, is it James Marsden?
Yeah, no, James
Madsden.
Who are you talking about?
The guy who's in the trailer.
Yeah, the little short kid who's in Bumblebee.
No, the
Oh,
lead.
James. Oh, yeah. Is it James Marsden?
Is it Marsden?
I don't know.
I think it's Marsden.
Oh no!
But he was definitely
doing so good too.
He was definitely in another movie just like this called like the Easter Bunny or Hop or something.
Oh yes, it was the Easter Bunny. Oh god.
Yeah, and it's basically that movie again. Is what it feels like to me.
What James Marsden?
Is it Marsden? I feel like I'm fucking his name up. But that
no,
motherfucker's at least 50, and he looks exactly the same.
He does look the same. He's had a pretty long career.
Yes, he has.
Because he's also in the.
He's been in a bunch, bro. His filmography is deep.
No, it's Jim Carrey that's in.
Jim Carrey plays Dr. Robotnik. Yes, he's in that.
Yeah,
but
okay.
no.
James Marsden,
it is James
plays
Marsden.
Tom Wachowski.
Yeah, James Marsden.
Uncle to the Wachowski siblings. James Marsden. Hairspray, X-Men. Oh, right. He was the original Cyclops.
That's right.
He's been around forever.
Right. He was Cyclops, yes.
Disenchanted is an upcoming movie. Dead to Me looks like a TV show. Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. So he's in Tarantino stuff.
Yeah.
He's been doing all the Westworld thing. That's cause
also Westworld.
And I think he's sort of like a producer or something for Westworld.
Is he?
Yeah.
I can see that.
He's been around for a ton of things.
Yeah, and he looks exactly the same.
Yes. It looks exactly the same.
I think he's 50. He's like Paul Rudd's age.
I really want to know what is the name of the movie that he did.
I think it's Hop. Isn't it Hop?
It is Hop, yes. It's called Hop. Is that I don't see it on here though.
With the Easter Bunny, right? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's called Hop.
Unless it's older than I think it is.
I
Hop,
saw
it is Hop.
And I was like...
It is, it's right here. Fred O'Hare.
I was like, yo, get your money, pimp.
That was one of the movies that, like, when you have kids, you end up watching, like, every cartoon.
I knew that. I was like, yo, I was like, James has a couple kids now, and now he's making these kind of films.
Yeah.
So, like I said, if you think Detective Pikachu is okay, then this shouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. Sonic should not. I think people need to stop shitting on it before it's garnered anything. But people have been shitting on it.
Everybody, because people need things to shit on.
Do they though?
We are in like a very weird point right now. And this week, where we had two ginormous pop culture phenomenons happen at the same time,
yes, they did.
which are both actually really good in different ways.
Yeah.
And people have nothing to shit on. So they're like, you know what? Sonic's
Sonic's gotta get
it.
Sonic's gotta get it.
It's gotta get it.
Yeah. That's fair. That's fair.
So I think Steven Spielberg's West Side Story was also. Oh yeah, sorry, what?
Although people did find things to shit on with both Avengers and Game of Thrones.
Yeah, we'll talk about those. I can't wait because they're kind of justified.
They're not wrong.
They're not wrong. There's things to shit on.
There are some things to shit on,
but it's a really big thing you're shitting on, and your shit is tiny.
Yeah, I was like, you gonna take that minuscule dump on?
Not that it's not still a dump. It's still a dump on your shoulder. Yeah. But it's like more like when you get
it's like bird poo. It's like, oh damn it, now I gotta change my shirt.
Yeah.
Fuck that
bird.
You're
still gonna change your shirt because of this dump.
You got to.
But you're not gonna change your whole body.
No, but you're not gonna change your outfit, just the top part.
That's right. It may put a hat on.
Undershirt is unaffected.
It may change your pants too, because the shirt might not go with your pants.
Well, no, I'm gonna pick a shirt that matches the pants.
You might change your shoes too, because you gotta match everything.
No, efficiency. Like if it's a time thing, then I'm just gonna be like, all right, this matches this matches this. All right, boom, bye.
Boom, there you go. What else? So there other things that were wrapped up in Fox was Steven Spielberg's West Side Story.
They were making a new West Side Story?
Yeah, I think that's still going forward.
Okay.
Yeah,
okay. I'm gung ho for that. I could definitely use a new West Side Story.
Right. Yeah. West Side Story is dope.
I go back and watch it like occasionally, and it's still fucking awesome.
Yeah, I forget where I heard this, but he's fighting really hard with Disney now about including the smoking in West Side Story.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
They don't want the smoking in it?
Disney does not want any smoking in any of their movies.
Disney needs to go fuck themselves.
It's good, though.
For me.
I mean, it's good, but bad. It's good because, like, smoking kills so many people a year, man. It's
Yeah,
really bad
but
for
it's
you.
also
awful.
a choice.
I agree.
It's also
I
a choice.
agree, but-
Seeing people smoke does not make you smoke.
Right.
You make the option, the choice to do it.
Right.
Stop it. Stop
I
that
fight
shit.
so hard with...
That's like saying video games kills people. That's like saying that shit. That's like
No, 'cause
that's
video
like
games
saying,
doesn't kill
violent
people.
video games made me.
But
that's
like,
that shit.
like the history of people who've died primarily from video games, you can count on both hands.
Right.
The history of people who died from smoking in the last 10 seconds, you can count
True,
on
but
all of our
but that
hands and
history
fingers
was
combined.
that history wasn't. Okay, yeah, I guess. Yeah, never mind. My argument.
Avatar 2 is still going forward. The Kingsman prequel is still going forward. So all those things Disney's now going to pick up.
Of course. Well, all those things made money.
The Ballad of Richard Jewell. Oh, it's about a security guard at the center of the 96 Atlanta Olympics bombing.
Oh,
It's a documentary about him.
documentary.
Yeah, so he's the guy who found the bomb and I think saved a ton of people's lives. I think it's possibly directed by Clint Eastwood.
Ooh.
So that was Fox. That's going over to Disney. I was in Atlanta
When that happened?
for those Olympics, yeah.
No shit.
It happened the day before we were supposed to go. Or no, it happened. Let me remember this. My dad and mom will know this. It happened like 4 or 5
the
hours.
family was in Atlanta?
Yeah, we went to the Olympics.
Get the fuck out.
Yeah, we saw a bunch of stuff in Atlanta because my Uncle Bill and Aunt Patty Lynn lived down there, and Lance and Jordan.
So you guys went down for like a
the
vacation
Olympics,
and then
yeah.
went down for.
When I was just a little older than Pinn's age, and yeah, and then we left, and then I think later that night on the news, the bomb went off.
happened.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
And I think this security guard found the other bombs that could have
That's
gone
gnarly.
off. Yeah. Anyways, so I'll watch
So
that.
that's a movie that they're making.
Yeah, that's the movie that's still going forward. And yeah. What else? What do you got, buddy?
I got a couple new. It's brief. Smash Brothers is celebrating 20 years. Fortnite it had a patch that gave a bunch of Avengers options to people who, if
Right.
you like Fortnite, that's your thing.
They did that with Infinity War.
They
as
did
well.
it with Infinity Wars. You
Yep.
were saying. What else? Oh, the Oculus is dropping 2 new.
Oculus Rift, the VR.
Yeah, the virtual reality. They have a 2-prong attack. They're dropping 2 new hardware devices this May. One is called the Oculus Rift S, which is kind of just an upgraded version of what's already on the market, and the other one is something called Quest, which is sort of like a standalone thing.
Okay.
I was reading about it. The specs are gnarly.
Yeah.
They're like 26 something to 1,500 per eye.
Oh wow.
Yeah, like the specs on it are gnarly. I still don't think
I love that doesn't mean anything to me, but I'm like,
Oh,
whoa,
wow,
man.
But basically, like 1080p, like for your television
Yeah.
viewing. Imagine that, but for your fucking eyeball.
Yeah, so it's got to be even closer.
Yeah, it's like 2,600 per eye times something crazy. It's gnarly.
Yeah.
If you want more specs, look it up. I personally think the VR is still in its fledgling state, so I don't.
I'm glad that it's moving forward.
Me
but
too.
Because I need
too.
something to die to. That's my plan. I don't plan on playing.
I need something to die to.
I don't plan on having VR until my mid to late 60s or 70s or 50s, depending on how bad the world gets.
Well, I already told you my plan. If I make it to 65, I'm gonna do heroin.
yeah.
Every day.
Well, I think
then VR.
Yeah, well, I think I'll do heroin and VR at the same time.
That's what I'm saying.
Or
Like,
I'll do VR about doing heroin. Like you'll be able. Yeah,
I don't think you want a virtual heroin trip. I think you want to
kidding, man?
do heroin and then do
even
virtual
better.
reality.
It's like train spotting the VR mission.
No.
Put on the thing and you get to be like Ewan McGregor.
Negative, Captain. Also on the docket.
Well, no, there was this thing at I just remembered they had this little like this is at the Great Wolf Lodge. One of those crappiest arcades. It's not an arcade.
Wait,
it's
they had
like-
an arcade there?
Yeah,
Oh,
but
that's awesome.
But there's no like Street Fighter. There's no like Mortal Kombat.
What's in that arcade then?
Nothing.
Time
but,
Crisis?
No Time Crisis. They had a Halo game, but it's all those.
They had a Halo arcade game?
Yeah, but it's all those games where you get tickets from. So it's the rip-off arcade thing.
Yeah.
So at first when you walk in, there's all these lights and sounds like, boom, 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 boom,
right.
and you're like, oh, it's an arcade. This is amazing. And then you start looking around, and it's all like the crane games.
Yeah, and like the stop button where you got to stop the light on
And
the
it's
number.
not even
type.
quarters. You got to go to this kiosk, and you got to put money
Trash.
in. So for $10, you get
Trash.
36 paw points, right?
$10. Oh,
So they even give you an odd number that where every game costs like 8 or something, so you always end up with extra paw points on this card, right? But one of the games they had was a VR Oculus Rift thing that you put over your head. And the girls really wanted to play it.
Okay.
And then I did the math, and it was like $12 for 2 minutes of VR. Which times 2 would have been like $24 for my kids to have 2.5 minutes of VR.
A negative.
And that was one of those moments where I was like, I am your dad, I am a dad, and no. And then I could just see the disappointment falling over their face. There was another moment where we were about to leave, and Penelope was like, I really want this water bottle! You could see that she was flipping out, you know what I mean? Because they know the vacation's over, and all she wants is a water bottle to make herself feel better that the vacation. And it's awesome, because they had an amazing time.
Of course they did.
And I had to explain to her, I was like, listen, I know you think you really want this water bottle.
But the minute we get home, it's plastic.
$25, exactly.
You're not going to use it.
It's junk. It wasn't even like in the shape of a unicorn or something.
Dude,
it was like simply a water
it's
bottle.
going to end up killing a baby sea turtle. That's what you said.
Yeah.
It's going to end up killing a baby sea turtle. And do you want that on your conscience?
Yeah.
Do you want that on your
And
conscience?
to her credit, I explained. I was like, "You're just unhappy because we're leaving, and you don't really want this."
And did she
she
get
was
that?
like, "She's like, okay, you're right." Yeah, she got
That's
it.
my girl.
I was like, I wouldn't have got that
That's
at her
my girl.
age.
Well,
I would have been like,
us September 16th Virgos are very on point. We're very on point.
There was this thing I wanted once, which was one of those switchblade knives, but it wasn't a knife; it was a comb.
Comb? Yeah.
It was like $5. I'd never got it, and I still think about it, Mom and Dad. I still think about
I just
that.
bought that shit for myself when I turned 16.
And that was at a vacation spot. Now that I think about it, at like a cabin in the woods type thing.
Cabin in the Woods.
Cabin in the
Shout
Woods,
to that
yeah. So Guardians of the Galaxy has a planned 2020 shoot.
Yeah,
Possibly
we talked about that
2021 release.
We talked about that.
Did we talk about that?
We talked about that. Maybe not last week, but the week before.
Yeah, so he's coming back.
But check this out: Amazon Prime is giving free PC games for May.
What PC games?
Amazon Prime is giving away more free PC games to Twitch members this May.
Yeah.
Plus free in-game loot for League of Legends, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, and some other titles.
Do you play video games on
my PC?
Yeah.
No, not since the 90s.
Okay.
I was a very big PC gamer in the 90s because I didn't have an in-home.
Yeah. Dun, 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 dun. Where did that come from?
What the?
All you have to do is say Twitch in the vicinity of a computer.
What?
And they're like, oh, algorithm, Twitch for you, sir.
Oh, my bad, ladies and gentlemen. Apparently, my Bluetooth connection disconnected. No, but
Is that what you're listening to the whole time through the podcast?
We've talked about this. I'm not listening to it, but this is the
He's
Bluetooth
got two
headset,
headphones on.
Right. The headset is so I can hear myself in the mic, and the Bluetooth headset is so I can hear content as I'm listening and talking to you.
That's what I'm
because
saying.
we're space age up in here, bro.
That's what I'm saying.
We're space age up in here.
We gotta like pound as much media as possible.
This is actually how I do it when I'm watching media at the house. I have at least one earbud listening dedicated to something else while something else is playing on the screen for me. It's weird. But I feel like this is the evolution of the human species. I feel like the evolution, the next evolution of humanity will incorporate multiple frames of
reality
viewing.
or viewing. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Oh, that brings me into a thing I want to talk about. What we into? Whenever you're ready.
Should we? Do we have any? Do you have anything else newsworthy?
Not really, but I can kind of fold it into what we into if you want to do that.
Yeah, let's start. I mean, the last things I have were PlayStation 5 is more than a year away. Although I was right, we're getting it in 2020.
Oh, we are. So Christmas, you were right. That would be, or actually November drop would be best.
Yeah, it'll. I'm gonna go on a limb and say it's not gonna be in the first or second quarter of next year. It'll probably be third or fourth.
Yeah,
Thanksgiving, Christmas era.
Yeah.
There's a new Borderlands 3 gameplay.
PS4 is not going to make it a
Fuck
year.
you. Don't you put that evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
Don't
you put that fucking evil on me, Ricky Bobby.
You're going to be at my house like, hey,
listen,
Larry.
Listen.
I'm Jones's.
Don't you do it. You don't even say that shit out loud. I don't even want my PlayStation to hear that kind of negativity.
You can't hear all the way here, man.
You don't know.
We're like 4 subway stops away.
No. So quickly, I'm just gonna speed through the latter bit of what I've got, and if you have anything less, you can jump in.
Okay.
So Borderlands 3 gameplay is dropping today or tomorrow. If you're into Borderlands, you should probably take a look. There's some good gameplay out there for it now.
Nice.
Yeah, that's pretty much it for me. Mortal Kombat, if you're into that dropped recently. That's I didn't bring it up earlier because it's been what I was into this week.
You played it?
No, but
Are you talking about the controversy?
Wait, is it controversy?
There was dumb controversy about Mortal Kombat.
Like,
Are you going to bring
I
it back
didn't-
up, or you want to talk about it now?
Well, the only thing I was going to bring up is that I was really into watching a lot of the fatalities, like all of the stuff that happens at the end of a match. I've been watching those.
Yes.
Like, so I don't have to actually pick the game up because none of my friends are
Right,
going to.
no, it's like the thing that like if like we had no other people in our lives
I would pick
nothing else
this
to
up.
do,
I would pick this
you and
up
I
and
would be
play
playing.
this.
We would be pounding through Mortal Kombat.
Absolutely, but because I don't have
We'd
that.
probably get into a fight too.
No, because I would handle you. I would be handling.
Well, I know
you.
you would handle me in the fight, but I'd be handling
No,
you in Mortal Kombat.
no, that's what I'm
which
saying.
would
No,
make
no,
us
I would be
fight.
handling you in Mortal Kombat. Is what I'm saying.
Oh, then I would handle you in the fight. You can't have it both ways, man. Come on, you can't handle me in Mortal Kombat and in the actual fight.
I mean, Larry, look at us. Look at us. Come on.
I'm scrappy though. I'm like Arya in Game of Thrones, man.
Wait, save it. We'll get to that. Well,
the controversy for Mortal Kombat 11 was Jax, the character Jax.
What about him?
Did you watch his little thing? Spoilers for Mortal Kombat 11, Jax's end story, if you care.
You mean his story arc in the game?
He has the chance to like make a wish, and so he apparently like there's this wish that he goes back and does not allow slavery to happen and doesn't get it right.
Wait, what?
Yes.
Wait, that's Jax's story arc in the.
Yes, at the very
he
end.
goes. He
I don't
goes
know I don't know anything about Mortal Kombat. All I know is that I guess when you beat the final guy at the end
with Jax,
you get an option of doing a wish, and Jax's wish is to make it that slavery never happened.
Okay.
And a whole bunch of like apparently, probably white nationalists or people who don't believe.
Wait, people were mad about his choice to make slavery not a thing.
They're like, it's reverse racism.
Wait, I did
Because
not
it shows
hear
like
this.
a glimpse of the future, and it's nothing but like happy black people, and people like flipped out. I only bring it up because it was so ridiculous.
Oh my God, I had no idea. No, I did not hear this. I did not.
Yeah.
But no,
It's like black power. What about white power?
I've been lucky. My family and I have lived the American dream. But most people who look like me haven't had that chance. I owe it to them to put things right. And I'm not waiting centuries for people to get woke when I've got the power to speed things up. I don't get it right the first time, or the second, or even the third. But eventually, I knock it out of the damn park. My family's back. The world's a better place for everyone. Turns out, you can have everything. Anyone who says you can't needs to dream bigger.
So I was really into watching a lot of these. I watched all the fatalities. There was because each character has 2 fatalities.
Yeah.
I didn't get into the brutalities yet, but like
One of just more brutal fatalities.
Well, one of the things about this game is that like to acquire all of the content for all the characters is going to cost you like $6,000 because they're like all these different.
Oh Jesus! Really?
There's like all these skins and like the fatalities and like
wait, you have to pay for fatalities?
I think so.
Oh,
I think so.
That's wrong.
Well, you pay for them in the earning of. Like,
I'm gonna look that
like
up.
you play through the game and earn these credit points or whatever, so then you can then buy them in this shop. Or you could do it like they're like loot boxes.
Oh, okay. So you can get it through the game.
You can get it through the gameplay,
right?
Or you can just spend the money and buy it all.
Okay.
So
I'm not gonna look that up
the total the number for it was like something like $6,500 to have everything, everybody's fatalities, everybody's brutalities.
Before podcast, we were talking about how Robert Downey Jr. made $5 million per day to film film Homecoming, the Spider-Man movie.
$75 million
for Endgame.
For Infinity War.
Oh Jesus! Is that just a blanket? Was that a blanket? Like, here's a check for 75, and you're going to get a percentage as well. Oh Jesus!
Yes. Yeah, I would think so.
Okay,
I would think so.
Yeah, so somebody like that would be like, yeah, just. But see, somebody like that doesn't even have the time to go through and go to the PlayStation Network store and click on each thing that they want, they would have to pay somebody to click on each thing that they want to pay the $6,500 to get all of those things unlocked for the game.
Right.
So that's even more expensive. That's like a $10,000 investment.
Dude, it's literally the second thing when I pull up Jack's ending.
Yes, you
Mortal
saw it.
Kombat.
Okay, so read what you see here.
Jack's controversial ending in Mortal Kombat 2.
Okay, well, when you get a moment, go back and read because it's ridiculous and very funny.
It's amazing
and awesome.
It's amazing.
I mean, all he does is he does a very real thing, which is I'll just stop slavery from ever happening. And I think it doesn't quite work out, so he has to go back and do another thing that doesn't. So whatever. I didn't really watch it. I just was humored by the idea that people would be up in arms.
This is America, bruh. This America. We are living in Trumpistan now. People are gonna be mad that black people breathe air. That's literally what the issue is.
It's so sad.
I mean, the past 6 months, the news have been. Let me call the cops on a black guy for barbecuing.
Yeah.
Let me call the cops on a black guy for sleeping. Let me
just say there was real harmony at Great Wolf Lodge. In this skanky ass dirty pool, we were all united in one way, which is that we were poor enough to want to go to a place like this,
right,
and not rich enough to go to a nicer place that we could fly to. People had coolers because you could bring your own food there too, man.
Amazing.
You could bring your own booze and sit by the pool.
This sounds like the best water park ever.
Like you and I and Laurel should just go.
I mean, I didn't want to say it on the podcast. I was gonna hit you offline and be like, we should low key go to this thing by ourselves.
Where should we go? It's only 2.5 hours. Oh, I didn't even tell you the best part.
Did you guys drive there? How'd you get there?
Yeah, so we drove there.
Okay.
So Laurel goes to pick up the car. She has to be the one to pick it up because she's the one who, whatever. Normally, I'm just saying as I'm the more often. I'm not going to say I'm the better driver. I'm the better driver, but I'm the more often driver because Laurel doesn't really feel comfortable driving for whatever. So she goes and picks up the car. She comes back. I open the door and she's sitting in a Mustang 2019 GT. 2019 wow. Mustang GT.
So you rode down to Pennsylvania in a GT? That's awesome.
They didn't have a 4-door that she had requested.
So it was a coupe?
Yeah. And
That's
so
cool.
So on the way down, I'm like, this is amazing.
Convertible?
She's like, oh, you're happy? I'm like, hell yeah, I'm happy. I'm driving a Mustang. It's a GT. It's like, I don't know how much.
You said 2019?
2019.
Yeah,
I don't know how much a Mustang.
Like standard, like, I want to say 300-400 horses. Like,
oh my god, it moved.
gets up.
It moved.
It gets up.
Like I was doing like 80,
yeah,
and going to pass somebody,
dude,
and being like, oh man, I'm doing 95.
Pennsylvania has some of the widest, dope, longest height.
Yeah.
Like the one time I got my car up to like 100 miles an hour plus for any length of time was in Pennsylvania.
Yeah, and so, but she was like, oh, you like it? I was giving them a lot of shit. I was like, why? She was like, because they said it was a 2-door, and I thought it was going to be too small for us. And I was like,
it's for y'all.
I mean, it's valid. If we were going to like Cape Cod for like a week or wherever, you know what I mean? We had a lot of luggage. You know what I mean? But we didn't have it. It's a tiny little truck. It was a weekend.
Yeah.
I would have just been like, I'll just wear the clothes I got. Don't worry. I'll drive this car. Perfect. Boom. So yeah, but it was a humongous rainstorm, whatever.
So you were driving the GT
I
in the
didn't get to
rainstorm?
open it up, but but on the way back,
it
was not raining. And I could definitely. I was like, I'm glad. You know, it's even when you turn the key, or not. There's no turn the key. You just press a button. It turns on. Really? It revs itself up.
Wow.
So you press a button, and you're suddenly that asshole who goes.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
You open the door, and on the ground underneath where the door opens is a lit up Mustang, like a light, like it has like a little
a little like
what do they
floorboard light.
Yeah, exactly, of a Mustang.
That's dope, dude.
Awesome.
That's a come up.
Yeah, that's a come up. It was good. That made the trip. I was like, yeah.
Good for you.
Dangerous though. I mean, I could feel how like I just kept wanting to go a little faster, a little faster. Guys would kind of cut in front of me, and I'd be like, I could pass this dude in a second.
Dude, like
dangerous.
I come from that Fast and the Furious world a little bit. I come from like I was.
You were
out
there, man.
I was out there.
You were the PA for all of those movies.
I was out there. Oh, news this week.
Craft
R.I.P.
services. What?
John Singleton.
Yeah, John Singleton, Boys in the Hood.
Oh my God.
What else did he do?
He did Poetic Justice. He did the second. Justice. Speaking of Fast and the Furious, he did Too Fast, Too Furious.
Oh, he did.
Yes, he did.
Did you like Poetic Justice?
I loved Poetic Justice.
I'm trying to remember
with
if I
Janet
liked
and Tupac.
Yeah,
it was fucking awesome.
Yeah, I can't remember if I thought it was fucking awesome. I thought it was okay. The
Kendrick
Lamar song's dope.
Was that
Kendrick Lamar's Poetic Justice?
Oh yeah, well yeah, yes, yeah, yeah.
Yeah. You have the lyrics tattooed on your back.
Yeah, well, I have also a Thug Life tattooed across the chest.
That's true.
So, yeah, because I keeps it real.
Yeah, he died. Poor Singleton.
Dude.
He didn't look that old. How old was
51.
he? Oh, dude, that's too young.
I
Well,
feel like
how old was he when he made Boys in the Hood? Like 19?
like 20 something. He was like right out of film school.
Yeah. I've
Like-
talked to you about Boys in the Hood.
Have you?
Yeah, because my parents watched it and they were like, "Oh, you should really sit down and watch this movie like it was
No
important."
shit. Mom and Dad told you to see Boys in the Hood?
Yeah. But
Yo.
it was
Shout
before
to Mom and
time.
Dad.
Like
You guys are
now
always
now
cool.
there's like a million movies like Boys in the Hood.
Well, Boys in the Hood was sort of like a watershed moment for black cinema,
yes.
especially in the 90s.
Yes.
Because and I just recently watched there's this Netflix show. It's kind of like it's kind of like James Lipton's Inside the Actor Studio.
Yeah.
But it's with another guy. I can't remember his name. And I only clicked on the episode because I was like, oh, John Singleton. He had just died, and it was like a 30-minute little like interview with John Singleton and this British cat. I don't know. I forget the name of the show, or even like I meant to write it down, but I didn't. Because I was just I was like, in the moment I was affected by the fact that John was dead.
Yeah.
And then it just so happened that the universe was like, hey, here's this interview with John Singleton. I was like, oh shit, John
right.
was on this show. Let me listen to what he was saying. And he kind of goes through like,
So it just randomly came up.
it just randomly came up.
Yeah. The universe is weird.
It kind of
Yeah,
when
it's
your name is
weird.
fucking Karma, it gets.
That's
pretty
a
much,
head
pretty
trip,
much a
too.
fucking Tuesday.
It's a head trip. Every time you do something bad, you're like, fuck.
Dude, it's only in my
For
adulthood.
those of you who don't know, his middle name is Karma, Robert Karma Robinson.
I didn't give that name to myself. This isn't me.
No,
Oh,
it's
man.
not.
No, that was
Born this
that
way,
was the rentals.
which is great, but also it would fuck with my head if my middle name was Karma.
Well, I never used to tell people my middle name because as a kid, like when I would tell kids my name was Karma, your name's Karma with a K? That's a girl's name. And so people used to shit on
really?
they used to shit on my middle name as a kid.
the
So
fuck
I
are you
just
hanging out with?
I would just never tell people. It wasn't until I got into high school that I actually started telling people my middle name is Karma.
I would have heard
kind of
Carmel.
owning it.
Robert Carmel Robinson.
Well, that's
Oh,
that was
that's-
another thing that people would miss. Did you say Carmel?
Oh, Jesus. Sorry.
So it became
it's caramel.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it was always sort of like, don't tell people your middle name. Don't tell people your middle name.
Yeah.
It's going to be a point of something. It's going to give them ammunition already. And
Right.
I already wore glasses. I was already a
Aw.
skinny nerd.
Aw.
So I didn't want to give motherfuckers any more ammunition.
I need to see more pictures of you.
No.
I've seen pictures of you in high school, but I haven't seen pictures of you pre-high school.
Yeah. No, you're not going to.
I need to come over to your house and
No.
start going through some stuff.
Everything burns. Everything burns.
1991 Boys in the Hood. Not in, but with an N.
And yeah,
Boys in the Hood.
But yeah,
Ice Cube was so
good.
good in that.
Oh yeah. Well, Ice Cube. He tells the story about how Ice Cube auditioned for it. He said, he in his initial audition, he was so bad. This was John Singleton.
Yeah.
Because he hadn't read the script. Because that was at the same time that he was auditioning for it. They had just gone out on tour with their first album. So he was Ice Cube was touring the country with that first album of
With
NWA.
NWA? Really?
And so
I didn't
like
realize he was that young when he made this movie.
yeah, and so like when he showed up to do the audition, he bombed it, and so John told him, he was like, yo,
That's a skill. They have to teach you, and this is why I bombed my audition for University of Evansville, because nobody ever taught me how to do an audition. It's a skill you have to learn, as you know, as an actor.
well, they taught us in
Yeah.
high school. Like my high school director, shout out to Kevin Hurst. He over prepared us for college. Like I was overly prepared for every audition that I went into before college and subsequently after college. I like auditioning.
yeah,
I'm one of the few actors that does.
You're overly prepared for most things,
Except for this last audition.
except for this podcast as well.
I was not prepared for this last audition I went on. I had just worked a 55-hour week and then went in and did the audition, and I wasn't off books.
That makes me think you're gonna get it.
Well, I would like to get it. It's a play that I helped workshop when it was initial. So, but we should speed along into what we were into.
Yeah. What we
into this week? I'm gonna start with Star Trek Discovery.
Let's just say don't say the things you didn't like. Let's just do
just
things
things
you
I
like.
did
Yeah,
like.
yeah.
All right, bet. 007 License to Kill. Just gonna leave that out there.
I wanted to watch a James Bond when I was at this thing with Laura at the hotel, and she didn't want to watch it when we ended up watching Star Trek: The Next Generation. But I was like, I had this urge. It was probably the same night that you watched License to Kill.
I think Timothy Dalton is my favorite Bond.
Wow.
I know that even though that Connery has held the top spot for a long time in the zeitgeist of my Bond likage, I think that Dalton's portrayal is the most real and also dark, and he's not slapping women around in it, being
I just slapped some women.
I just slapped a woman, and you're gonna take that. Like Timothy Dalton's portrayal of Bond, for me, I think has been the best. Yeah. So 007 License to Kill, go back and watch it. Doom Patrol. Typical.
I'm waiting for the whole series, and I'll watch it.
It's fucking phenomenal. I went back and I watched the increasingly poor decisions of Todd Margaret. It's David Cross's show.
Oh, really? Yeah,
from a few years ago.
Right.
It's brilliant.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I highly recommend it if you haven't ever seen it. Grass is Greener. It's a documentary about marijuana, and it's it's dope. It's dope.
I wanted to watch it too, and Laurel's like, I don't want to watch a documentary about weed.
Fab Five Freddy is the narrator, and the Fab Five Freddy from hip hop fame. Is he Public Enemy? No,
no. He
was around at the time of hip hop's creation. Like he was like one of those
he's
cats.
just a dude out in the Africa Boombada.
Yeah, he was one of them cats. Fab Five Freddy. He was like one of the OGs from the start of hip hop. The Polka King, which was a movie based on a true story starring Jack Black.
Yes,
and it only made my list because I was like, how about this? Isn't this a thing where this man committed these crimes, went to jail, and now subsequently Jack Black is playing him in a movie?
Yeah.
It put me into a weird headspace because I was like...
You don't want to be that guy, though.
I kind of do because...
You don't want to be a guy... You want to be Jack Black. You don't want to be a character Jack Black plays.
I don't know because not only... Subsequently, I saw this movie and then there was a document... I saw... I didn't see the documentary, but then Netflix shoved this documentary pushed into my face. This guy was a big supporter of Trump. He basically Ponzi schemed a bunch of old people. He was the polka king of Pennsylvania, and then Ponzi schemed a bunch of old people. But in the way that the movie portrayed him, he was just sort of like a rube. He was sort of like an honest rube. He really just wanted to do good by people, and he just got in over his head. And I was like, isn't this a thing where in America you could commit a crime, go to jail, but as long as you're white, there'll be a movie made about you.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? It just like I was watching it because Jack Black's performance in it is really, really kind of virtuoso.
This is what I was saying about White Privilege Island, or Cocaine Island.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's exactly what I was feeling. In the shades of Cocaine Island, I was like, really?
Yeah.
This. And Jack Black plays him with such alacrity and such honesty. Like you actually sympathize with this guy. You're like, oh, this guy's isn't so bad. But I'm like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Yeah.
He ripped off a bunch of old people. And like, if you haven't seen the movie, you should watch it because apparently everything that happens in the movie happened in real life.
Really?
Like, and it's crazy. Like he bribed like beauty contestant judges to help his wife win Miss Pennsylvania.
Oh,
and
that's cute though.
And that's kind of like the
that
start
could
of
be
his
old story right
well,
there.
that's the kind of start of his downfall because he was Ponzi scheming all this money from these people, but he was actually returning a lot of the investments on time. But then his wife was like, "Well, I want to win Beauty Queen of Pennsylvania." So he took all the money that he was getting from these people and started like. Buying her dance lessons and like all this
like
stuff.
that in itself is a nice little story until your wife finds out, and then you're like, "Oh, okay."
Well, the crazy thing is she didn't find out until like late in the story, and then there's a scene in the movie where she comes to the prison and tells him she doesn't want to be with him anymore.
Yeah,
it's so sad because you feel for the guy. You're like, "Oh, he's a nice guy," but at the same time, I'm like, "Fuck this guy." So it played on some dualities in me because like the portrayal is really sympathetic, and Jack is really great in it.
He's great in almost everything.
Almost everything. Yeah.
2017, directed by Maya Forbes.
I recommend it. The Orville. I'm gonna say the Orville, and I'm gonna circle
pray.
back to Star Trek Discovery.
Yeah, but you got to pray for the Orville because they have not picked up season 3 yet.
And this is what I'm gonna say about the Orville, and it's gonna be a trap. It's a shame that the Orville is not getting the love it deserves now, because it is, in my opinion, it is the heir apparent to Star Trek Next Generation.
Yeah, so I'm not even gonna watch it until they pick up season 3, because what will happen?
I think you need to watch it now, because if you don't watch it now, there won't be a season 3.
Well, oh, that's a good point. Well, my family's already watching it, so they'll get those clicks.
Especially, I think they just wrapped up their season. I think this last week was their season finale.
Okay,
it's
then I'll watch
really
it. Okay.
good.
Yeah,
It's this second season. I wouldn't even put the first season in contention for how good the show. The show is very, very good.
Yeah.
And watch that second season. The second season should be their first season. It is like
I'll watch the second, and if I like it, I'll go back and watch it first.
I started twice because I felt like, based on what I saw with the Star Trek Discovery finale, I was like, man, no.
Let's talk about Discovery, because I was also in the Star Trek Discovery.
Okay, so the season finale aired 2 weeks ago.
Yes. So we're behind. We're behind a week, and we're behind another week.
I
We didn't talk about last
season
week.
finale, but it really should be the series finale, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't think they need to make any more of these movies of this show.
But see, did you read the article I sent you?
The one about how there's possibility for them to tell these stories in the future.
Well, hold on.
Years into
Spoilers
the future.
alert to Star Trek Discovery. If you haven't seen it, stop. What are you doing? Stop listening. Don't listen to
we
this
do
podcast.
that. We spoil
do this
shit.
things.
And and I read another article this week where spoiler culture.
I know. I'm sorry.
Fuck all that.
If you don't want to know the end if you don't want to know what happens in game, get off YouTube. Don't click on a video about.
It's not that bad. Look, if knowing something about the end of a movie spoils it for you, it wasn't that good of a fucking movie.
That's true.
Bottom fucking line.
100%.
You could tell me any spoiler for anything. If I like that shit, I'm still gonna go watch it regardless of what you've told me about it.
Right.
If Game of Thrones is such a badass show, it shouldn't matter what people say about it.
Yes.
Because you're gonna watch it anyway and be like, that shit was on point.
Yeah. So the end of Star Trek Discovery.
Right.
Basically, they time travel. 600 or 900?
900 and some odd years. 900, almost 1,000 years into the future. And so they are the furthest that Star Trek has ever gone into the future. Right.
So I had a conversation with Laurel about if the technology, for Star Trek, Enterprise, and for Next Generation, we're 100, 200 years away from Enterprise and 300 years away from Next Generation?
That sounds about right.
Okay, that sounds better, because I was sort of in my little stoner haze, I don't know if Star Trek, if we'll ever get there, because it feels
this is what the article brought up for me, is that if they come back for a third season, what they've given themselves is a golden ticket, a golden opportunity to tell new and more grandiose Star Trek stories. Because other than Star Trek Voyager, which basically is the premise, which could be the premise of how they take Star Trek Discovery into, where this lone ship gets lost in a quadrant that is uncharted and not unpopular.
It'll take them 170 years, Voyager, to get back.
Yeah, and obviously they find a way to get back because the series actually ended.
Spoiler alert, man!
Fuck
Come
you.
on.
Fuck you. If you haven't watched Star Trek Voyager at this point, kill yourself.
I was going to, though.
Kill yourself, because you should have been. No, should have been.
Well, I may do that. Well, that's
Wait,
the
have
question.
you not seen Voyager? Actually?
No, I've never really.
Oh, no shit.
I've seen intermittent episodes. We're in season 5 of Next Generation, most of which I've seen. I've realized that around season 5.
You should go watch Voyager. Yeah, because Voyager, what Voyager did is introduce new cultures and new aliens into the Star Trek canon. There hadn't been. I mean,
yeah, right. There were Romulans, Ferengi, those guys.
All the standard trope of aliens had been around through Next Generation. The only introduction that of new alien ship that I think the Next Generation entered were the Q and the Borg.
Yeah,
the Borg were the Borg and the Q
were
the big bads.
Yeah,
they were the ones introduced. But Voyager introduced the Dominion. There was all these other cultures that the Voyager sort of introduced, and it's because they were lost in a quadrant that no one had ever seen before. So what Discovery has given themselves, if they come back for a third season, which I personally don't think they should.
Yeah,
I think the way they ended it was perfectly fine because.
But don't you want to see a Star Trek that's 900 years in the future?
I do, but not if they're going to be telling the same. Not if they're going to be telling the story the same way they told these first two seasons,
where it's
just singularly around Burnham,
focused. Yeah, Burnham, yeah,
and what her thing is. Because why I feel like Orville has become the heir apparent to Star Trek Next Generation, at least, is because every episode diverges from one character. It's telling the focus of one character's story through the macrocosm of the ship.
Right.
It isn't just the show's called Star Trek Discovery, but it's really Michael Burnham's story.
I 100% agree with you,
and
so
I think
that's
that's not Star Trek.
And I think a lot of people agree with you.
That's not Star Trek to me.
I think with this, I think with Discovery they tried this thing, and I think they knew what they were doing in the sense of like, we're going to focus more on characters and that'll pay off. But I think
on characters, but not character.
Yeah, exactly. And I think what happened is they sort of like shot themselves in the foot, that people really wanted the episodic nature of what Enterprise and what Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, all these shows did before them.
And that was the other thing that the Discovery did that was different from what Star Trek does, is every episode linked into the episode before.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Unless it was like a 2-part episode, none of the Star Treks ever, one episode never directly tied into another. None of them.
And like a huge geek in my writing class, I brought this up to explain something. But my whole point was, like, when you have a character die in one episode, you don't suddenly have to deal with their funeral the next episode in Next Generation, because this undisclosed amount of time has passed. And presumably we've already dealt with that. Now we're on to a totally different character dealing with a different thing. And so the expanse of time in Next Generation feels like years for each season. But you don't get bogged down in sort of the minutia of shit like funerals, for example.
And that is what I feel like Star Trek Discovery has shot themselves in the foot. I honestly hope that this is the end of the series, because I don't want to. I honestly, unless they're gonna pivot, which hard pivot in that third season to just start telling stories that are grandiose and introduction of new species and things like that. I don't want to see any more Michael Burnham stories. I'm over it.
There was a few moments in the second season of Discovery where it felt a little bit like that. We had like the Saru episode.
Well, the Saru episode, but they were all linked right back around to Michael Burnham, because this was all about the signals and chasing down the signals.
As soon as her mother came in, and that was
the mother thing was like, okay, and then they tie it all back around to, she originally actually sent all these signals, and they play the time trope in a way that I was like, that's how y'all gonna do it? Y'all focused it all on Michael, and then you do the time trope trick, and then link it all back around to her. This is boring. This is corny. I agree. And then they wrap it all around in this nice bow where Spock's like, okay, now I'm the Spock from the first series.
We can never talk about this again.
I was like, no, that's some Deus Ex Machina ass bullshit.
Like, we're just he like put down an order, like, we'll never talk about this ever again.
And Spock is the one who suggests that to Starfleet, and they listen to him. Dude, you're directly involved in this. We shouldn't be listening to you. We should be debriefing your ass to be like, yo, what the fuck?
Yeah, it was a misstep, definitely. Everybody talks about Pike, too. Everybody really liked Pike and wanted more Pike.
Well, Anson Mount, it's because Anson Mount is a motherfucker. He's a beast.
But I think they also gave him there was never really, except for I think the third to the last episode.
Where they tie it back to the first one. Where
they didn't really focus on him a lot, which was
to their detriment.
Yeah, to their detriment, but I think it's also what people wanted, was like, let's not focus primarily on one character. Let's just make it like Enterprise and Next Generation.
And they failed they failed in that for me.
Not Enterprise, original Star Trek. You know what I'm saying? Or like Enterprise. Enterprise was episodic too.
I just feel like for this iteration of Star Trek, it wasn't successful, at least for me.
It looked really good, though.
It looked really good, but like I initially had, I told you initially, I was like, I have problems with the amount of technology that they have. If this is supposed to be like 100 years before that first, Kirk mission, that first Pike mission, this seems too much. It seems too much, and they use a lot of these, like, they usually try to sew it up in like one scene where a character will say something in reference to, like there's that one where like the holograms, how like and then they say,
I don't ever want to see.
I don't ever want to see those on the bridge again, and I was like,
ever.
I was like, yo, y'all are really like, I can suspend some disbelief. You motherfuckers are really testing my patience with it.
Or just, yeah. I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
They get bogged down, or just make it, I don't know, or just don't address it at all. You know,
Right.
don't try to don't
Right.
put a Band-Aid on it.
Right.
And be
I feel like if they had
put a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
I'd have been okay with it.
Yeah. So Michelle Yeoh, she's doing a Section 31 thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so she says Section 31 is in the works as we speak. We shoot Season 3 of Discovery first, and then move on
So
to
they
Section
are making a
31.
Season 3.
Huh?
Oh, they are making a Season 3.
Yeah, they'll make it Season 3. You'll
Alright.
watch it. Come on, just check it out.
No,
It's Star
I
Trek.
mean,
You'll
I
watch
will.
it.
I will. But
She says Section 31 will be more fun, less intense, and more fun-driven. Visiting more planets, going around rescuing people in our own way. When actors talk like that, they're aware of the public
critiques.
Yes, because I was definitely when I've talked to between season 2 and season 3 of Mr. Robot, I was on set with Rami Malek, and I got to sit back and listen to him do press over the phone, and he was definitely aware of the backlash against season 2, and was trying to talk publicly about that by saying season 2 is like this, but season 3 is going to be like this. They do that. They know what they're doing. They know how to deal with press. It's not this. Nothing is accidental with these press talks, for the most part, unless you're Tom Holland and you're giving away gigantic pieces of movies and stories.
Okay.
Real quickly, Nickelodeon just sort of greenlit a CG animated Star Trek show that will follow a group of teens aboard their own ship. Would you watch that?
Of course.
Of course you will. It's animation. I was like,
course.
this is
It's animated.
raw,
This
man.
is my wheelhouse.
Yeah, totally.
I'm
Animation, Star Trek, teens, got it. That
Done.
could be good.
Yeah.
I don't have anything else to say about that other than it's by the guys. It's people who Kevin and Dan Hagman who did Troll Hunters and Lego Ninjago
I'm
TV
with it.
series. Yeah,
I'm with it.
So
Because
you're
both of those series were dope.
on it.
Troll Hunters is Guillermo del Toro's joint. If you haven't seen it on Netflix, do yourself a favor. It's on point. It's called. They have Troll Hunters, and then there's the subsequent sequel to that, which is something below.
Yeah,
Look it up.
I think my kids have seen a few episodes. Alex Kirkman says, and he's the guy who basically the showrunner for Discovery, but he's also, I think, has a strong hand in this. He says, Star Trek's mission is to inspire generations of dreamers to build a brighter future. Dan and Kevin have crafted a story that honors its exploratory spirit in a way that's never been done before, and while the Nickelodeon team blew us away with their excitement at bringing Trek to a younger generation around the world. Awesome.
Great. I'm with it.
What else you got? I had one other
Do
thing.
you want to throw anything in? Because I've got a couple more things that are note. You want to? What were you into this week?
One night there were two things. I watched a Star Trek episode that really got me thinking a lot.
Next Generation?
Yeah, and Next Generation. It's called The Game.
Ooh, I think I know this one.
Right?
Give me some of the.
So Riker goes down to Risa 4
yeah,
or whatever it's called.
the play
Yeah,
planet.
it's basically the sex planet.
Yeah.
He goes down to the sex planet. He's there with a woman, post-coital or about to be pre-coital. Like, it's like right there. The sex is there. It's Riker.
It's Riker, but
Which is funny, like, because he gets sort of like everybody thinks he's such a player, and he is hitting on people, but you don't actually see him get laid that often.
I mean,
it's always
granted because this is
getting shot down.
Well, this is a PG-13 show for.
I'm not saying they're going to show it. I'm just saying, like, most of the time you see Riker, or there's the idea of Riker
a ladies' man.
being a ladies' man,
Yeah,
but you don't actually.
man.
I'm not saying you need to see the sex, but you don't actually get like moments where you're like, oh yeah, he did her and he did her. I don't know, whatever.
Did you need to?
No,
I
but
feel like Riker is the Bond of the Enterprise. He's like,
definitely. So he's there, pre or post coital, who knows? He's getting a back massage from this alien woman, and she puts like a little.
Is this the one where he's like imprisoned, or whatever, and he thinks he's he's like, well, you guys can't do this to me, whatever, and they're trying to get information out of him? Is that the one?
No, that is, I think, when he's going up against not the Klingons, not the Vulcans, the what's the other team?
Klingons, Vulcans, Romulans.
Romulans, yeah, that's a Romulan episode. This is after that, and basically this woman puts this little. It's not VR, but it's like a little like thing that sits on your ears and puts like two little like prongs in front of your eyes and then shoots a laser
or whatever come out.
It's the laser shapes.
Right,
it looks like
right.
a 90s video game.
What was the premise?
And basically you get instantly addicted to it.
Right.
And he brings it back to the Enterprise, and everybody on board gets instantly addicted to it except for Wesley Crusher, who it's like his first day back from the academy.
Right.
And he meets a young, oh god. It's not Amy Adams, it's I can't remember her name. It's a famous actress. I can't. Oh, I'll have to look it up. Whatever. Hold on. But everybody on the Enterprise gets addicted to this game, right? Except for him and this girl.
Okay.
And everybody's walking around with these little visor things on, playing this game constantly, having these little mini orgasms every time they get like little like
thing in the it goes into the hole.
You can't see it, but you can see it from their perspective. And finally, by the end, he goes to like convince Captain Picard that it's the thing, and Captain Picard's like, "Oh yeah, sure, Wesley, I'll take care of it." And then as soon as Wesley leaves, Picard puts on the little thing, and it's like an alien race trying to take over by brainwashing people through this game. So I watched this, in the hotel room at night, and then walked out the next morning, and everybody is on their phones at the pool.
It's exactly that.
It's exactly the same thing. And everybody's like bumping into each other, not saying "excuse me," just everybody's on their phones. I mean.
Yeah, Star Trek has been predicting a lot of shit, bro, since forever. That's probably why it's still so good.
Yeah, so good.
Except that Discovery didn't predict anything. It didn't predict anything.
Let me find these characters, actors. Risa for, oh my god. What's her name? Ashley Judd. There we go.
Ashley, yes. Yeah.
Yeah, Ashley Judd.
Yeah.
Remember Ashley Judd?
Yes, I do.
Lots of people do. She's around.
What else you got?
The only other thing I watched again, because I watched like 7 episodes of Next Generation in a row, and was like, I gotta watch something else. I put on Chappie,
and
it was the second time I saw it. It's still got major issues.
It does, but
the core of the story is really interesting and kind of dope. I think what happens, the issue with Chappie for me, and I'll keep it short because I want to jump into Game of Thrones here before we run out of time. The issue with Chappie is that it's South African, it's set in Johannesburg, and it doesn't really do the same thing that District 9 does, which focuses on kind of like racial relations, but it's humans versus aliens. This sort of focuses on like gang members and this Die Antwood rap group, which is these 2 white rappers. And so maybe they have a different relationship to hip-hop and rap than I do. But, like, for me to see 2 white rappers being all gangster, it's just super cringy. I don't have a problem with Chappie getting all kind of like gangster because that's what he's kind of programmed to do. It leans too far into the hip-hop gangster thing and not enough into the AI robotic Chappie thing.
I can see that.
You know what I mean?
Do you think that... I think that level of hip-hop is what has reached South Africa? Because I think that
they're South African rappers.
They're South African
They're
rappers.
famous there. Yeah.
They're not just famous there. They're famous worldwide.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That the dude of that group has a story where he plays basketball with Kanye that they animate.
Yeah.
It's one of those,
oh, really?
Yeah, it's like one of
they're
those...
both actually really good in it. The first time I watched it, I thought they were cringy. And they're still cringy, but in a way, they're actually really good at being cringy.
I think that cringiness may have to do with your American sensibility.
100%.
Because I watched it and I was like, that's 100% authentic South Africans appropriating American culture.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, for me, I was like, yeah, I get what you're saying about the cringiness of it, but I was like, I know why people like this.
Yeah.
I know a lot of cats who come from where I come from who don't look like me, and they talk and they sound like fucking me. You know what I'm saying? So, like, for me, I was like, that's on point.
Yeah. So it ended up being a better watch than I thought it was going to be.
And this is why I watch the movies over and over again.
Yeah.
Sometimes
you just need about like 5 years to
process
something.
just be a different individual.
It's still not as good as District 9.
Oh god, no.
But yeah.
No, not by a lot. But I think it had a lot more legs than people gave it a chance for.
Yeah.
Really quickly, Into the Badlands. Keep going.
Okay.
It's incredible. It's some of the best not animated. It's some of the best choreographed fights for martial arts on TV right now, and the story is lit as fuck. It's incredible. 3 seasons. Go see it. She-Ra, Princesses of Power.
Yeah,
second season.
I watched a few of those with my kids.
They chopped the season. They chopped the season in half. It was 13 episodes. Now it's 8.
Yeah,
and it's crazy because one of the voice actresses from Princess of Power, from She-Ra, is actually an actress in Borderlands.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Okay. And she's phenomenal.
It was good. It was definitely watchable.
It's great. Like it only went 8 episodes and it ended, and I was like, "Fuck, where's the rest of it?"
Yeah.
Because it started to get fire. Like it's starting to get fire.
or if they just realized 8 episodes.
I don't know. I think they're gonna have a third season. They have to, just
Yeah.
the way that they kind of like cliffhang it. This last one. Okay. Alita. I saw Alita Battle
you
Angel.
did.
I saw Alita Battle Angel. I finally got a good.
I could go
torrent
down
of
a
it.
rabbit hole with that. But
Oh my God, it
Yeah,
was
give me 2
fucking-
minutes of what you thought.
I thought it was brilliant.
Yeah.
I personally, I thought it was the best American
Yeah.
anime adaptation for a movie ever.
Yeah.
Ever. It was
Yeah,
brilliant.
me too.
It was
It's-
absolutely phenomenal.
I'm glad that they made just their money back. I would have rather...
I would have rather it had been a success.
Me too.
But it was incredible.
Yeah.
Like by the time we get to that last shot of her rolling out into the murder ball, because I mean, if you look at the movie overall, and I'm a miss because I don't remember the manga like the way I should.
Yeah.
But
I do, because I just watched it again for that.
it was brilliant.
Yeah.
It was absolutely brilliant. Because it's kind of like an audition. Like the entire film is kind of like her audition for getting back to Zalem
Yeah.
before she knows that.
Yeah. It
And
was
like
my kids' favorite. It was my movie and my favorite movie other than Endgame this year so far. They liked it better than Captain Marvel. A lot better than Captain Marvel. Not to shit on Captain Marvel.
It's
but
better than, honestly, it's better than Captain Marvel.
Yeah,
I'll say
it
that
is.
out loud. It's better. Alita Battle Angel is a better film than Captain Marvel.
Yeah, it is.
It's better.
I agree.
By the time I got to the end, I was like, fuck, that was good.
Yeah.
I actually wanted more of the. I wanted to see her go to Zalem and face down Nova.
Yeah.
'Cause
Edward Norton.
I thought that was Eddie Norton.
Yeah.
I was like, is that Edward fucking Norton?
Edward Norton, yeah. I had, back when we did these episodes, I had all of that information in my head about who his character was and what he did and what roles he played in the future, but now I don't remember any of it. So,
Well, he played. Apparently, he's Nova. He's the guy who's responsible for.
yeah, maybe next episode. We have a lot to do this episode, but next episode I'll
Yeah.
pull up some of that stuff and we'll talk about it again because I want to rewatch it again and
I do
revisit
too.
it.
I definitely could watch it again. I'm gonna end what I was into for the last 2 weeks with the Hidden World. The Hidden World. Excuse me. How to Train Your Dragon. The Hidden World.
you
How to
watched
Train Your
it?
Dragon 3. Yeah,
I wanted to see
I
it.
love. Honestly, I love those movies.
too.
I love those characters. I love Hiccup. I love Rough Nut, Tough Nut, Fish Legs. I love
Yeah.
all those characters, even the dragons. And I love that, and I hope that this is the bookend to these stories.
Yeah.
because they ended it in a way where Hiccup is now a dad. Like you get to see Hiccup as a grown man with his own kids.
That's really awesome.
It's incredible. It's a great bookend to the films.
They took him from a kid and made him into a dad.
Into a dude, yeah.
With his own kids.
Yes.
And what I like about that
with the
is...
loss of his own father, because in the second one, the second movie, he loses his dad, who was played
Right.
by
Gerard
Russell
Butler,
Crowe.
right?
Russell Crowe.
Oh, was it Russell Crowe? I always thought it was Gerard Butler.
Oh, you're right. It is Gerard.
Yeah, right?
Gerard Butler.
Wow.
Yeah.
See, that's like a little bit of information in my mind that like I'll remember that, but I won't remember like my kid's middle name at some point. It'll take me a moment to remember it. You know, like why does that just
have
occur to
it
me
as
just like that? Gerard Butler for it's Hiccup's dad. Of course it is. Don't forget that, Larry.
No, but it's incredible.
Yeah, my kids were always lukewarm about those movies.
It's because they're. I mean, they don't reinvent the wheel. It's basically the same premise. Some big bad shows up and Hiccup and the Dragon Riders have to get together and stop him.
Yeah.
But in this one, they bookend it with basically the premise is that at the end of this film, all the dragons in the world go away to this hidden world where they originally kind of came from.
Right.
And Hiccup's dragon is the now alpha of all dragons.
Yeah.
And he basically is a king, and he takes all the dragons away until a time where humanity humanity has evolved to a place where dragons can live freely and in peace.
That's like saying never.
Basically.
Like humanity evolve? Are you kidding?
Right.
When is that going to happen? When is humanity going to evolve to accept everyone?
You know when? Alien Invasion.
Alien Invasion, baby. Speaking of dragons, we should jump into Game of Thrones.
We should jump into Game of Thrones.
Game of Thrones, yeah, Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, fucking Game of Thrones, yeah, Game of Thrones, yeah, Game of Thrones, Game of Thrones, fucking.
So you saw episode 2 and 3 of Game of Thrones.
I did. I saw 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah. And
episode 3 was probably the best episode I've seen of that entire show.
yeah, we'll probably not actually talk about episode 2 so much because it was more just like the setup for episode 3.
Well, episode 1 and 2 for me, and this is what I've gathered from watching this new season of Game of Thrones is that they will start asking these big questions, and then the scene will get interrupted.
Yeah,
like that's. I thought for a second I was like, is this how they're going to do the entire season, where like characters will start to express these grand ideas and then get interrupted? Because it happened in the first 2 episodes. Like,
yeah.
So Danny's like, blah 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 blah, and this, that, and the third. And would you do it? And then they're like, oh, blah, 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 blah.
Hello.
And the scene
we're going to interrupt you there because that would expand the plot too far, and we don't have enough time for that.
And the scene with Danny and John's sister, I forget her name. Sansa, and she's like, "Hey, yo, we got the North back, and we're not gonna bow to nobody. So what about the North?"
Which doesn't exactly make sense because they were always under the rule of the Iron Throne before. What are you talking about, Sansa?
It started to seem to me like it was going to be a season of interrupted big conversations. That's what it seemed like.
It's very true
until like the long night, which. And this is the only critique I have for the episode was like, it was mad dark. I was like, and it may have been the fidelity of the torrent that I was watching, but I was like,
100% it is.
I was like, man, this shit is mad dark. I could barely see what the fuck's going on.
I talked with Gersi,
and that was a critique. That was a critique that not only I shared.
A lot of people felt that way, and that comes from a lot of different things. One, you could be getting it from a source that's making it dark. 2, it could be your TV. It's not my TV. Yeah, I mean, what I found with like every different platform is sort of like has a different level set to it. So Netflix is set at one level, which is typically very bright.
You're not getting Game of Thrones on Netflix, bro.
No. But what I'm saying though is Netflix is like if you watch a movie on Netflix, it's pretty much right where I have my TV set for the best picture. You get to HBO, it gets a little darker. So when you have like a show, like an episode like Game of Thrones, and it's already they filmed it deliberately dark, because it's nighttime battle. I had to turn off all the lights with Laurel, and I had to turn up the brightness. I just have different settings I can set my TV at. So I just turned up the brightness, and then didn't think about it again. But if you're not like savvy or interested in doing that as a viewer, it's going to be a dark fucking episode, man.
I mean,
but you watched it from a torrent, so that's probably even a darker quality to that.
True. Yeah. I think the fidelity of the torrent I got wasn't the greatest, but it was still a pretty damn dark episode.
It was dark. Yeah,
I mean, it was fine, but I've seen shows typically that have been shot dark. Like Vikings is one of those that they shoot really dark. American Gods is another one that they shoot in this kind of like blue. Like depending on scene to scene, they will go dark or whatever. But this one, like, and I get that they're at night or whatever. And granted, I haven't seen a whole lot of episodes of this show where they've been fighting or it's been like nighttime or whatever. But I was like, this seems unusually dark.
Yeah, it was
for an
dark.
entire episode. There were like literally no points in the episode where you could, other than the scene where they're all sitting around the fire.
Right. That was the second episode.
Was that second episode?
Yeah, that's second episode.
Yeah. Okay. Well, then other than that,
well, I mean,
Giant's milk.
Now, my general feeling about the episode is I really liked it, and I thought it was interesting. It was it was probably the biggest battle we've ever seen on a TV series.
Was it? Because I've been hearing that shit since. Wasn't the Battle of the Bastards supposed to be the biggest battle?
I think that's actually a better battle because it's set during the day, and at the time when you were watching it, you really legitimately thought that they would kill Jon Snow at that moment, or they could do that, or lots of people could die there.
They were never going to kill Jon Snow.
I never thought during this episode that Jon Snow was really going to die.
No, I can't believe that you thought that in the Battle of the Bastards he was going to die. Like
that's how good
he's one of the most compelling characters on. There's no way, knowing that they were going to be making more seasons, there was no way they were going to kill Jon Snow. There was no way, and you as a writer should know that.
That's how I do as a writer, but that's how good the episode was. That kind of convinced me that maybe he might. But basically, they killed off all the C-list characters. Mm-hmm. All the B-list characters lived, and all the A-list characters definitely lived. Mm-hmm. Right.
So, Cyclops is one of the C-list characters.
Who? James Marsden?
No.
Barrick. Yeah.
The
Barrick
dude with no depth perception.
Yeah, he's a C-list character.
Really?
Yeah, because
Flaming Sword was a C-list character.
Yeah, surprisingly.
Ain't that about a bitch?
Surprisingly.
And Dothraki interpreter, he was a C-list character.
Dothraki. Oh, Jorah. He was definitely more B-list. Yeah.
Because that was one
We thought,
I honestly, I could have seen them killing Danny in that episode before he died.
Really?
Yeah.
No, he was definitely second tier to Danny.
Damn, they gonna kill off him? Nah, man.
He was definitely second tier to Danny, but all that character really wanted was to die defending her. Yep. To use his life to defend her, and that's exactly what he did. So it was kind of the perfect death for him. I thought the Hound was going to die, the dude with the scarred face. I thought for sure he was going to die.
I didn't see that one coming. The scene where, what was the other guy? Was it Cyclops? The scene where she's like, I'm not going to spend my last days with you two.
Arya?
Yeah,
Arya. Yeah,
it was her, the Hound, and who was the other guy?
I think that was Barrick. Yeah,
was that Cyclops?
That was Cyclops, dude.
Yeah, I thought for sure it was going to be though. I felt like it was going to be. At least, I feel like Cyclops was going to go, but I thought the Hound was going to live because he still had more, things to do with Arya. Like, his whole Arya arc hadn't solidified yet. They had that little talk about blah, 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 but...
He's also got a brother who's been turned into a zombie down at King's Landing with Cersei.
Oh.
The Mountain. He's like the biggest character
on
the show.
Yeah. That character... I know the actor, not the...
Exactly. So everybody wants the Hound versus the Mountain to fight.
Oh, so his brother's turned into a walker or whatever?
Yeah, kind of. It's different though. He's been like, there's like a scientist.
A curse or some shit?
Yeah, whatever. It's like magic, but he's not a White Walker, but he's basically a zombie.
Okay.
Even though he's under the control of Cersei the Queen.
Right.
He was made by this guy, Qyburn, whatever.
Okay. Well, I only had one question for the episode. It was the question for the witch. And why
Melisandre.
Why she turns old and dies at the end of that?
So
because she says in the episode, she's like, "Oh, I'll be dead by dawn. You don't have to kill me, old boy."
To Davos, yeah. So she's a follower of the Lord of Light, and she's apparently been alive for hundreds of years. And she has this necklace that she wears with a red crystal.
Right.
And all you really know is that whenever she takes off that necklace, she reverts to her true form,
which is an old woman.
Yeah, exactly. And the further she gets away from it, the older apparently she gets.
The further she gets away from the crystal, proximity-wise.
Exactly. I believe that's what it is. And so she burned a little girl at the stake in season 4.
Okay.
And it was one of the lowest points of Game of Thrones, where from an audience perspective, you love this little girl, and she convinced her dad to burn her at the stake. Mm-hmm. Convinced her dad that her dad was the Arya character, basically, going to be the one who kills the Night King.
She convinced
Azor Ahai it was like a prophecy, but she got it wrong, and it obviously wasn't this guy. And this guy dies in I think season 6 or season 7.
Okay,
and it ends up being Arya at the end of this episode, but she doesn't realize that. So Davos is there, and he basically finds her and says, "Look, I'm gonna fucking kill you," and she's like, "I'll be dead before the end of the night. Don't worry."
By the morning on your trip,
exactly. So she goes into that situation knowing that if she comes and helps them at King's Landing and gives Arya the little bit of information, which is the blue eye thing. Did you just fart?
No.
No? Okay. I heard a fart, but whatever.
No.
Time will tell.
Methinks the lady does protest too much, my
Time will tell, sir. But yeah, so anyways, it was... So when she walks off there to die, she's fulfilling her own prophecy, but all she really wanted to do was to find the person who was going to kill the Night King.
And it was Arya.
And put them into position to kill the Night King. And so once that happened...
And so she found Arya at that... So there's that scene at the top of the episode where they see each other, Arya's on the parapet and she's down there. And there was...
And she's sitting there with a bow.
And then Arya meets her later and she's like, "I know you."
They met, I believe, in season 2 when Arya was a little girl like Penelope's age, and she went to her and said, "Listen, you're going to kill a lot of people. You're going to kill people with green eyes, brown eyes, and blue eyes."
And blue eyes apparently are the walkers.
Yeah, and then Arya goes off and trains to be assassin for 3 seasons, and then finally comes back, and that's what she says. The blue. I mean, but generally, I'm going to kill people with brown eyes, green eyes, and blue eyes. Well, okay, so you're just going to kill people. What other eyes are there?
Yeah, I'm going to say.
So for them to be like, "Oh, well, blue eyes, and that's the White Walker eyes. There you go, Arya." I'm like, okay.
Right.
We're at a point where George R. Martin has not written this part of the story.
Yeah.
He's still on advising.
Okay.
But these guys are basically writing their own way through history.
Right.
I have a lot of comments from my family. Lots and lots of comments.
Let's jump in because we ain't even touched Avengers yet.
Yeah, so this is my mother, and she says, Game of Thrones. Okay, I realize they didn't answer any questions about Bran. He's the little kid in the wheelchair, the three-eyed raven, right?
He's the motherfucker who gets pushed out the window in that first episode.
Exactly. And she's like, that was disappointing, but I loved it. I love the highs and lows, the red, which ignites the swords of the Dothraki, and you're like, yay, and then they all go out, and one by one, you're like, oh no. Sidebar there.
That was awesome.
Tyrion, Peter Dinklage, he's supposed to be like a tactical genius.
Yeah.
His father was a tactical genius, and he's not anywhere
not in these last few episodes. He's been shitting the bed, apparently.
I agree. And, like, if you had this gigantic army of horseback riders, don't send them out into the darkness.
You never send cavalry out like that.
Why would you do that?
You never send cavalry out.
If you have these two gigantic dragons that can breathe fire, this is what Laurel, my wife, was saying, was like, why not have them breathe like a little river of fire,
right?
And wait for them to come to you? Why would I know that the idea was we're going to go out and get the Night King to come to us. If he's not coming to you, then what is the danger anyways? Why don't you just sit back and wait?
There was a bunch of tactical things that happened in that episode. I was like, I wouldn't have done that. Like the whole the moat thing where you draw those cats in.
Yeah.
You don't send the entire cavalry out to meet their what was great. What was great is watching the single horse come back out of the darkness, and then the one guy running back.
Jorah came back too.
If it were me and I was standing out, I was like, "Yo, I quit, bro."
The wolf ghost, he's alive. You can see him in the little segment. So he came back. He went out with him.
The wolf did.
Yeah, the wolf made it back.
Okay. Good. Well, great.
The wolf, I'm sure.
Great.
I'm sure the wolf got close and was like, "Oh, this is a really bad situation."
Wait a minute.
I love Jorah's face.
I'm gonna lick my own balls. Lick my own balls.
I love Jorah's face when he's riding back and he makes eye contact with everybody. He's like, "It's bad. It's really bad, you guys. This is really, really not good."
I definitely like my man Grey Worm, although I felt like he kind of let his people just get run through.
Yeah.
I was like,
that's their. I mean,
I guess that's their lot in life.
That is their lot in life. They were slaves beforehand.
A black guy being a slave? Funny.
Wait.
The one black guy on the show?
But he lived.
Darn.
But he lived.
Darn. The light skinned brother survives?
My mother says the Unsullied sacrificing themselves line by line while Grey Worm watches so that the living can retreat into Winterfell broke my heart.
Yeah.
It broke all our heart,
yeah,
Mom.
I'm with Moms on this one. I was like, the fuck?
And just when you think things are at their very, very worst, Dany and Mormont fighting together, Drogon going down, that's the dragon.
Yeah.
Jon Snow not being able to get by the ice dragon. Which was cool. Did you see that half its jaw was bit off? That was awesome.
Wait.
The ice dragon.
Yeah, was Drogon the one that died? The one that the Night King killed?
You think
I thought Drogon was the one that Jon was riding.
That is the one that Jon.
That one doesn't die.
No, both the dragons live because you see him in the next scene.
Right.
But yeah, Drogon got his ass kicked.
Yeah,
but he kicked ass.
He definitely got handled.
Yeah.
But
he bit half the jaw off of the ice dragon, which was dope. Everybody, and I mean everybody, being overcome by the Whites. Theon realizing
the Whites.
He is dead and charging the Ice King, which I thought was dumb.
Theon's
the guy.
The guy who dies at the I saw that.
You're a good man, Theon.
I was like,
dude, that was the cheesiest moment in the episode.
I mean, that was the cheesiest moment. I don't know.
So cheesy.
But that one was definitely up there.
Like, Melisandre basically has done the same thing. She sacrificed a little kid. Theon burned 2 little kids early on in the season.
You know
he gets redemption. Melisandre, no redemption.
No. I think she does get redemption because, old boy,
not overt.
Not overt, but yeah, she does get redemption. Because old boy, he lets her stay. He's like, because he comes to kill her, and she's like, don't even trip. I'm gonna be dead before dawn. And he's like, yeah, all right, bitch, all right, you gonna be dead.
But I missed it the first time.
It looks like he comes out to kill her at the end.
Yes,
that's what I thought it was. I was like, that bitch survived. Fuck this.
Exactly. That's exactly what it is. Reaches for his knife, and he's like, she's
already okay. Fine.
There was a moment where she walks out. She gets so old, all her hair falls off and blows away in the wind. Which was cool.
I didn't catch that.
Yeah.
I just saw that it got real long and real gray, and she just dropped
dead. Yeah, very cool. Very Conan the Barbarian.
Speaking that's good.
Jon Snow not being able to get by the ice dragon. Blah 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 blah. This is it. You think, and they're all gonna die, and then that I can't say the word. Brilliant. God damn it.
Brilliant.
Little whisper. Yeah, thank you. Of wind that blows the hair of the Ice King's soldiers, and then bam, Arya is on the Ice King, and you think she's got him, but then he's strangling her, and she drops a knife, but no, she's caught it in the other hand, and she plunges it into him. Dang. That was brilliant.
I was like, honestly, I feel like the Ice King is one of the most boring characters.
It is.
He's so boring.
The problem is that we spent, and this is a major issue,
because they had built him up for 7 seasons.
Yes, he's got all of these moments where he's like looking from far away at Jon Snow, like we have some history together. There's something going. Yeah, exactly. There's a moment I'm going to give you the eye. And then now he's dead, and we don't learn any of the mysteries. Apparently,
maybe we will.
Apparently, the prequel is all about.
There's a Game of Thrones prequel?
Yeah, that's coming out. And I think they're saving it for that. But that sucks. I'm sorry. Don't spend this entire...
And this is the problem I had with this show from initial jump.
Yes.
This is my problem. Winter is coming, this major thing, and then they build it up, and they build it up, and they build it up, and then... Like, I thought it was dope that he got killed the way he did.
Yep.
But, like... It seemed completely out of nowhere and unjustified.
Yeah.
I wanted to be as down with everybody who would saw this episode and be like, "Oh, my God, this was so great." But as I'm sitting here, kind of like writing it, because that's what I was doing. I was writing the episode as I was watching, and I was like, "This is terrible writing. This doesn't make sense."
Yeah. So my sister says, "This is Mary." Lady Nerd 1. She says, in our family group text on Sunday night before the episode aired, my predictions of who lives in episode 3 were as follows. Dany, Jon, Arya, Gendry, Tyrion, Tormund, Bran, Sam, Little Sam, and Varys. I'm pretty impressed that I was correct on all of these. Very good, Lady Nerd 1. You pat on the back and push up the glasses.
Yes,
but we were
you
all
were right.
You should see the thread of my family. It's hilarious. It's awesome.
I feel like that should be part of like one of our pages, because that
access to the family thread.
Yeah, that family thread is amazing.
If you pay how about this?
It's
you pay
amazing.
$5 to Patreon, we'll give you access to the Dial family.
I think Charlotte gave a little sample of it on Instagram a couple weeks ago, and I was like, "Wait a minute, this is amazing."
She was also surprised that more people didn't die. This is like they killed off all the C-list characters for the most part, except with the exception of Jorah. He was pretty B-list. According to my count, the dead were Ed, Night's Watch, Lyanna Mormont. The best moment, I think, in the episode was the little girl who stabs the giant in the eye.
Yeah, that was
so
dope.
Cool.
That was dope.
I mean, so cool.
Yeah, like the way she went out too. I was like,
yeah.
Well, they had kind of established her as a badass from that first episode where she's like, "Yo, we elected you king.
Yeah.
The fuck,
bruh. Get on it."
And he was like, "Oh yeah, but I brought dragons." And then she was like, "All right, well, whatever." And then she was like, "I'm not going down into the crypt." Although the crypt thing this is one of the things I was like, y'all are some dumb motherfuckers.
I know, right?
You gonna send the most vulnerable people to a place where the dead are stored and the man raises the dead?
This is
Y'all
why
got
I
to
think
be the dumbest dealers in the history.
As good as this episode is, and it's one of my favorite episodes, and I think it's spectacular. It's fantastic
for the action, but not for the not for the logic
thoughts.
and the
thought logic on this episode. I felt like they really dropped the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think in my mind they thought, what would be great is if the guys in the crypt, they suddenly came back to life and started killing people, and then they were like, "Oh, how do we get them to attack people? Put people down in the crypt." And they're like, "But wait, that doesn't make sense." They would have thought of that, but like, doesn't matter, just do it.
It seems like a lot of I can't help but draw comparisons to Helm's Deep and that those sort of battles.
Well, this is highly inspired by Helm's Deep, and I think the battle against Cersei is going to be highly inspired by where was the end battle in Return of the King, whatever the city was named. I can't think of it.
The city with the white tree.
Yeah.
Oh, my nerd brain is seizing from all the rosé I've been drinking. The rosé is shorting
during
out the
day
synapses.
will make you forget Lord of Rings. Anyway, so she goes on. Beric, Jorah, Theon, and Melisandre. Those are all the people who died. And once you type it out, you realize that 7 people died, and it does sound like a lot. But I do remember thinking at the end, wow, a lot more people lived than I expected, especially Grey Worm, Brienne, Podrick, and Jaime, who were all on the front lines.
I expected Brienne, not Bran.
Oh, yeah. You thought Bran was going to die?
No, I thought Jaime for sure.
Bran didn't do shit the entire
I
episode
know.
either.
He had the best. He was like, let me post up in my chair and eat some Nilla wafers. I'm just going to eat Nilla wafers.
Watch it
but no, that was the plan. They were going to draw the Ice King out and all that.
But he's a warg, which means he can go into any animal's body. He goes into the ravens and gets a literal bird's eye view.
Right.
But why didn't he warg into the ice dragon?
Well,
why didn't he...
For me, the thing is that Bran already kind of knows the outcome of what's going down. Which is why he chooses to use himself as bait, which is why he tells old boy, the last thing he says to old boy before he charges the Ice King.
You're a good man. Now charge randomly into these people.
No, what he says before, he was like, he was saying something like, the guy was trying to apologize to him. He was like, no, everything that you did brought you here.
Exactly.
And now you got to go kill yourself because I got to survive this.
But that's like just the prophecy of writing. You know what I mean? It's like no matter what happened, no matter who did anything, if they ended up here because of the writing, then it was all fate. You know what I mean? It's a little cheesy.
Yeah, a little too.
I'm complaining. I love the episode.
The episode was dope. It was like I said, for me, it was probably the best episode of that show that I've seen.
Yeah. So Lady Nerd 1 says, the only complaint was that they never really got any reasoning from the Night King about his motivations. Yep. I really wanted him to say something to Bran, but alas, we still have never heard him talk.
That was my question. I was like, we've seen the Night King now for more than a few episodes. Has he said anything?
Never.
And that for me is problematic.
But when you think about it, he's a stuntman who's been cast in that part.
So?
He's like the Darth Maul of Game of Thrones.
I know, and that's corny.
Yeah.
Because Darth Maul was probably one of the most enigmatic characters, and then they use him as this trope, and he gets cut in half. And it's not until Star Wars Clone Wars that he actually gets a voice, and you get his motivations, and you're like,
different actor,
shit.
too. Yeah.
This guy this character is fucking incredible.
She goes on, do we think the Night King is truly dead? Excited to hear if Rob is now into Game of Thrones after this episode or not.
Lady Nerd 1, I want to say like I am.
Color.
Yeah, I want to say that I am, but I am not. It's this episode in particular was great, but not even great. Okay, it was like the best part of this episode for me was the scene where Arya is sneaking around in the castle. Like there's that scene where she's like trying to avoid the dead. It's very Resident Evil to me.
Yeah.
I was like, that's
that moment
like
where she jumps over the backs of them and rolls over.
No, that moment where she turns the corner and she runs right into that walker and just.
And you're not sure if she got stabbed or if she stabbed it.
Oh, I knew immediately. I was like, no, that bitch stabbed the shit out of that.
To me, that's Penelope. I cannot she looks like Penelope to me. Like I cannot So when she comes out and kills the Night King, even though I want so much more from the Night King and want to know about the fantasy and all these things and what his motivations are, and I think that's a mistake in the writing. Yeah. I'm still like, I'm on board, man. I'm just like, yeah.
I think a lot of people were. I think that scene like really got a lot of people hyped and jazzed, and I was just like, that's cool. Like it was, you know how I talk about like there's that, that's hot moment in like or. I think we should move into Avengers because this is going to domino.
I got one last thing from Mary here. She says, finally, what I was into this weekend was at my nephew Parker's baseball game. This is Bo's son. Bo is the coach, and in the final inning of the game, he yells at the pitcher who has leukemia and just had chemotherapy the day before, quote, my 6-year-old daughter can throw harder than that. Seriously, I can't make this up, says Lady Nerd 1.
Bo, what's going on, dog? What you teaching them kids, bruh?
I don't mean to put my brother on blast here. But, dude, first
what's going on, bro?
Leukemia. He just had chemotherapy. And you made it sound like my 6-year-old daughter can throw harder than that. Like, as if that makes any difference if she's your daughter versus your son.
Yo, Bo, what's going on? Yo, write us, text us, what's going on, son? Tell
Where
us
you
something.
been? You've been absent for a while.
Yo, we ain't heard you. We ain't heard you, man.
He's
What's
too
going
busy
on?
supporting sexism, apparently. and tearing down little kids with leukemia.
Game of Thrones, yeah. Game of Thrones, yeah. Game of Thrones. Game of Thrones. Game of
Yo, we gotta move, bro. We gotta jump into Avengers, man. We gotta jump.
Oh, let's jump into Avengers.
Oh my god.
Our very strength invites challenge. Challenge incites conflict. Conflict breeds catastrophe. The thing isn't beautiful because it lasts.
We're in the end game now.
Now this was the movie. Like we were talking earlier. We were talking before we went and saw it about this.
Do you want to do? Let's just jump into it. This is gonna
I
be
think we need to jump
spoilers.
in because we're
Spoilers.
This is all spoilers.
We're in the
Because
ninth hour.
I'm ganged. I'm geeked. For
We got
this.
half an hour.
We
Let's
got-
talk about Endgame.
yeah, we
We're gonna
gotta-
spoil the shit out of it.
Look, if you don't want to hear spoilers, kill yourself.
If you haven't seen it yet, what are you doing anyways?
Kill yourself.
You don't care.
What are you talking
By the
about?
time this comes out, it will have been out a
Bruh.
full week. You did not care enough, so don't.
I
don't complain
was
about
trying to find
spoilers.
ways to see it again. I actually
Me too.
talked to Shar. I was like, "Yo, Shar, when do you want to see it?" Blah blah blah.
Yeah.
She never got back to me. I almost went and saw it yesterday by myself again. It's,
I'm gonna go see it. I think maybe this weekend with the kids.
well,
I'll let
okay.
you know.
Let me know, definitely.
Yeah.
I'm about to go into tech for this little show that I'm gonna be doing next week.
In general, you had expectations. What were they? And did it surpass? or
In
did
general,
it not?
I had expectations. It met and surpassed them, but I also got almost every prediction right.
Yeah.
On this, like we remember we were talking
Yeah.
about like what would go down, and did
But I kind of got them right too.
did you?
Yeah, I think I did.
Did you? All right.
I got 'em.
Which prediction do you feel like you got the most right?
Well, I said that either Tony Stark or Captain America was going to die.
Well, that's not that. Duh.
But you were like, no, I don't
No,
think so.
no, that's bullshit. I actually said who was gonna die. I was like, no, it's gonna be Tony Stark.
Yeah.
I actually said
And it was.
I actually like. Not only did I get that he was gonna get rescued in the first 5 minutes of the movie.
That was true.
Not
That
only
was-
did
you were right.
I mention that it was gonna be like the whole thing was gonna hinge on this quantum thing, and also not only did I get that he was gonna be the one to die.
Yeah. And you weren't even like deep diving in the
No.
speculation videos.
No, bruh.
Because that was what speculation
No.
videos were talking about, either time travel or alternate realities, and that was both.
It had to be it. The way that the way that Ant-Man and the Wasp ended, there was no question that it was going to be the way that
Definitely
Ant-Man and the
quantum,
Wasp
yeah.
ended, and the way that the trailer kind of highlighted Ant-Man showing up and being like, "Hey, can you let me in?" Blah blah blah. I was like, "Oh yeah, this is quantum. This is quantum.
I'm a
physics."
B-list character, but I'm here for
This is-
A-list for a
this-
moment. And
this
then
is
all of a sudden,
quantum.
once they got into the quantum diving, they were like, "Yeah, you're to the back burner, buddy."
So
Paul Rudd,
I
get outta here.
recently saw a poll of like who is the Endgame MVP? Is it Captain America, Tony,
Nope.
Iron Man,
Nope.
Thor, or the Rat? And I was like, yo, it's the Rat.
It's the Rat.
It's the Rat.
It was the weakest moment of the writing.
It
But,
kind
like,
of
you know
was,
what?
but I was like, that's brilliant. But
Just do it and move on.
You know, it's the weakest point in the writing for a film, but in the comic book world,
Yeah.
that's exactly
Yep.
how it works.
And also not to mention, out of 14 million blah 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 realities that Doctor Strange looked into, or possibilities, that out of 14 million, that's something that happens. A rat hits a button and lets Ant-Man out.
And he's the one who has the
Other realities, the rat does not hit the button.
Yep. And we were talking about it before we went and saw it, you and I, and you were like, "Is this the movie event of our generation?"
Yes.
And after watching it, having seen it, and we'll probably see it again multiple times, yes, it is the the movie viewing event of our generation.
Well,
it took 11 years to bring to fruition, but it was well worth those 11 years and the 20 some odd movies that inspired them. It was and is the movie event of
this was the viewing week of decades.
Yeah. It definitely was.
For pop culture.
Yeah,
we had Game of Thrones. It didn't culminate, but it was one of the biggest battles of all time to look forward to, and Avengers Endgame on top of that.
Yep.
And so it's really interesting. I can't remember who said this to me, but somebody said like it's very fascinating that both Avengers and Game of Thrones have created this serial thing, one in movies and one in a TV show, in which everybody is tuning in and watching and listening to in real time as if it's almost like a sports game or the Olympics or something like that.
That's interesting, yeah.
In which something happens and everybody talks about it. The difference between Endgame and Game of Thrones versus 10, 15, 20 years ago when big things came like this, we would see it and we would talk about it, but it never got beyond the water cooler.
Right.
Now you go on your whatever news site you're on, whether it's Fox News, not on that, or Huffington's Post. There's a million different articles about everything.
It can't be helped because of what Endgame did financially.
Yeah,
like not only did it shatter it shattered like I forget there was a list that I saw. It shattered most of like the records for movies. Like from I'm not going to say movies of its ilk or movies of its time. It shattered most of the records for movies.
Yeah.
Like, I forget, it's like the fastest to 1 billion, the fastest to this number, the fastest. It just crushed so many numerical paradigms. It crushed them.
Yeah.
And we
came out of it, and I was like, I think this is the best movie I've seen since Terminator 2.
Yeah.
And what I mean by that is that
easily
I was very excited at like 12 years old to go see Terminator 2
because Terminator it was the Terminator we had been waiting on in the same way that Star Wars The Force Awakens, like any of the Star Wars movies that have been in recent years where fans have been waiting on it. There's been service like we've been anticipating these movies,
but neither the Phantom Menace nor The Force Awakens delivered on the promise that my expectations set up for me.
Yes,
you're
absolutely right.
This did.
This absolutely did.
Yeah,
hands down.
This did.
Hands
down. And that's what makes it different. And it's from a standpoint, it needs 20 or 20 plus movies to build that spine.
See, I don't think it needed those 20 plus movies. It just was a good look on Marvel. No one had ever tried to do that. There had never been a game plan where we're going to tell us, like, basically they what Marvel has done is they have made it so that this is the formula for telling a comic book movie story. The way that you would tell, like, in a comic book. Like,
this is exactly the way you would tell it in the comic book.
This is exactly the way that you would tell in the comic book, through multiple sources, across multiple franchises, but it's all a singular story. This is basically what Marvel has been doing for the last 20 years.
Like, they made it work. Well, they figured out how to take multiple comic books, each coming out weekly, right?
Right.
Condense them into that run into one movie, and then tell those movies patiently over
the course of 10 years
plus thing.
Yeah.
And granted, they didn't necessarily start with this idea with Iron Man, but they realized as they were going what they could turn it into. And I would argue by Phase 2, they were on board and knew where they were going.
I think we all gotta, and this is something we've done on this podcast. We gotta sync this all the way back around to Blade.
Yeah,
because without Blade, that first Blade movie, the MCU today would not exist.
I agree with you. And when I was editing last week's episode, and I put in the little SNL segment, if you listen to it, and he comes out and it's Black Panther.
Panthro. You can't.
Yeah, Panthro. It was not Lion-O, it was Panthro.
It was Panthro, because I went and looked for it. I was like, Lion-O?
Right.
It was
but
Panthro.
They were talking about being the first black superhero, and nobody mentioned Blade. And I meant to put it in a little Blade section, but anyways, when you edit a podcast...
Because technically, Black Panther was the first created in the Marvel Universe.
Yes.
Technically,
it was.
I think it was. Okay. I think it was Black Panther, then maybe Luke Cage.
So we're on technicalities.
We're on technicalities.
Right. But the first in Marvel canon from
in a movie standpoint, in a cinematic way.
Yeah,
it was Blade.
Yeah,
it was Blade.
That's why I got really strong hopes for Blade 4.
Well,
I'll take an old Blade. I'll take an old Wesley Snipes.
I need to. I don't know if I need to talk to. I was like, Rami, who do you know that can put me on? I need to be in that movie.
Okay.
I need to be in a Blade 4. I need to play Son of Blade.
Does Blade have any kids?
Not in the comic books, I don't think.
Let's
or at least if he does, I don't.
Let's write the script.
I'm down,
and we'll give it to Rami.
I'm down.
Like, we got Blade,
Son of Blade. I need to be doing. I need to be
Yeah,
doing it.
exactly.
I need to be doing it. But this, it was so good. It was so good. Do you want to?
I want to run through. I wrote down notes, and then I want to run through them. They're in no order whatsoever,
Go ahead.
and we'll talk about them.
Go ahead.
We got about 15 minutes left, so we'll go. Professor Hulk. Was he too small?
Too small? What do you mean?
Was he
Physically?
too small? Yeah.
No. He was Hulk.
He looks smaller to me than Hulk in Thor Ragnarok.
Really?
Yeah, he looked like a smaller version.
Okay.
Is he as strong as is Professor Hulk as strong as normal Hulk?
Yes.
Okay.
Probably stronger.
And when he snapped and his arm went all shriveled.
Yeah.
Sad. They didn't really give Hulk enough, I think.
Well, I want you to go through this because I read an article that because we're gushing, we're fanboys, so we're gushing about this.
Yeah.
But I read an article this week that had a really strong critique about the movie.
The female characters?
Yes.
Okay, well, we can jump into that too, because I don't want to run out of time, and I want to do that first.
Right.
Because what I realized, the critique of the article, and I have it pulled up, is that the female characters were not well represented.
They were props.
Right. That they were basically props.
Yes.
And when you think about the fact that Black Widow sacrificed herself and died,
yes,
there's no other females on the Avengers.
No,
the original Avengers.
Oh, exactly.
Yeah.
No founding members.
Yes.
Right.
It was basically her.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're kind of going back, 7 years to
Something
the original
like that.
Avengers.
Uh-huh.
And what has happened is we started this franchise and we focused on the males because that's what that's what Marvel, that's what whoever owned those rights thought.
Well, see, this is what I was saying about, like, you remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about them making a Black Widow movie, and I was like, really? Because the Black Widow has been on the team of the Avengers, but she's also kind of one of these tertiary characters in that way. And I like that
they've always made her tertiary.
Well, that's kind of what her. I don't know. I'm
is
not
that
saying
who she is in the comic book?
She like. Other than, I think she had maybe once or twice they gave her own book.
Yeah.
But like that, she's always been either in tandem to somebody or in tandem to a team.
Right. So
and those are those and in those moments is where a lot of her story is the most compelling. Like I don't see like a Black Widow. Like I never read a Black Widow book. If they had one, I don't know if it went well.
I'm sure they did. But she was never. I agree with you in what you're saying is Marvel itself as a comic book entity and creator and producer never fully made her the biggest character. She was not a Captain Marvel.
No,
and part of
she never could.
The articles on IO9 is Endgame's women deserved more. And so I think and part of that is true, but it also relates back to the very beginning of what the Avengers were.
Right.
In the sense that they focused mostly on male characters.
It was a boys' club.
It was a boys' club, and at the time, I think
the original Avengers were the Hulk, Thor, Iron Man, and Captain America.
I thought Ant-Man was on there. Ant-Man, which is kind of connected to the Wasp. So is it fair to look at Endgame and say that the women deserved more? It's really what the question is.
I think they have a valid argument because a month before we got a Captain Marvel movie,
right?
And it made it seem like Captain Marvel
that made $1 billion,
right? Easily, and in that movie made it seem like Captain Marvel would have a stronger hand to play, in the coming Endgame.
Exactly.
And basically, she shows up, gets a new haircut, disappears for 2 hours, shows up, and in the article that I was reading, basically they give her the moniker of the ferryman.
Yeah.
Because basically, she just shows up and ferries people to and from.
Yeah.
in the first 5 minutes of the movie, she shows up and ferries Iron Man back to Earth.
Yes.
Then she disappears for a subsequent blah, blah, blah. And then she shows back up and basically she's ferrying the gauntlet across the battlefield after destroying Thanos' ship. But other than, like, it was so much, like, why even have her?
Yeah.
It's basically what the article was saying. Like, why even have the character in the movie other than to show up and destroy Thanos' ship?
Well,
you know what I'm saying?
I think from a writing,
and especially, this is what I'm
keep going.
And especially since like Captain Marvel is supposed to be now the subsequent flag. She's supposed to be replacing Tony Stark as like the flagship for the next
and hopefully
phase.
she will.
For the next phase.
This movie made me really like her. Captain Marvel, I came out of it and I liked the movie and I liked her, but this made me really enjoy her character.
Her character or Brie Larson's portrayal of the character?
Her character.
Okay.
I'm still not sold on Brie Larson's character or portrayal of the character, but I think she'll get better as she goes along.
Me too.
Yeah.
Me too. I definitely want to give Brie the room to sort of.
I don't think she's doing
I don't think she's doing a bad job.
I don't know if the direction of Captain Marvel was
especially
strong enough to really put her in a position that Robert Downey Jr. was in for Iron Man.
Well, especially since in Endgame they had shot Endgame before they shot Captain Marvel.
Exactly.
Like, her backstory, like her whole reason for being in that movie didn't even exist when they were shooting it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like for them to like then after the fact be like that, honestly, like it's a credit to like writers. Like you cats who write that shit. Like I couldn't imagine like. Okay, so the movie's shot. We've already wrapped this thing. Now we have to then build a story for a character like that in this way. I couldn't imagine it.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I think from the writer's perspective, they did exactly what they should have done.
Right.
From a Me Too movement of 2018 versus when Iron Man came out in 2008, they were on a different track then. And they didn't set up the things that they should have set up in order to make this movie what would have been more deserving for the women characters.
Well, it seemed to me like there's that one scene toward the end where all the women sort of are, and in the article they described it as in the most apt way as a diversity biscuit.
Yes.
It seemed like here is the girl power shot where all the women characters kind of come into focus. But we had spent the better part of 2.5 hours kind of ignoring their importance to the overall story.
What I would argue is that they had to do that. Yes. This isn't necessarily a defense of it.
No, okay. I agree because I'm in agreement with you. I think they had to. From a
storytelling standpoint, they had to do it.
Yes.
Infinity War focused so much on Gamora, right? So we can't spend that much time on Gamora. It's already a 3-hour movie. We had to fit everything in. Nebula got more time because she was not really fleshed out so much, and regardless of what her arc is, I'm just saying from a time standpoint.
Well, it's interesting because when we left the theater that night, me and Laurel got into the discussion about the use of Scarlet Witch and her powers and how she wanted to see Scarlet Witch sort of manipulate the battlefield more. And to her credit, Laurel's not wrong in wanting that. But we're already in and this is what I was kind of trying to argue on the street before we separated that night. It was that we're already in the third act of an already 3-hour movie.
Yes. Yeah.
Now, for what Laurel wanted to have happen in that film would have required a little bit of setup, more of a...
Because what she wanted was in the very first, in Age of Ultron, the second Avengers movie, Scarlet Witch comes in and does some mind control powers. It's not just like flaming red stuff that comes out of her hands.
Like she's a telepath.
Yeah.
You know, she can
My
manipulate.
wife wanted to see more of that.
Right.
And wondered why there was never a moment where Scarlet Witch did things other than telekinetically moved objects or created physical force with red swirly hands.
Right.
Yeah.
Which ostensibly, like, her character, her actual powers are not that. It's reality manipulation.
Yes.
Her powers are not unlike the Reality Stone.
Right.
But she's not. They're not affiliated. But like she plays on manipulating probabilities and stuff. Like that's actually what her powers kind of deal with, is changing reality in a way that benefits her. And I agree with Laurel. I think that would have been a very cool sort of way to sort of make that character kind of progress. But
even before this article came out, she was not even really happy about Nebula's arc either.
Also very like the article made some really strong points for how they use the women in this, but like honestly, it like I think it kind of plays into the fact that this is an Avengers, and Avengers is always kind of a boys team thing. The core of Avengers is a boys team.
In 2008, of these are the guys.
Right.
The thing that I realized though, and because I thought as I went through this whole process, and I was defensive about it at first, thinking about it to my wife and also to myself, reading this article. You know, that this is what they had to do because this is where the Avengers were set up and they had to focus on these characters in their previous movies. Like, we're not going to focus that much on Captain Marvel because she just had a movie recently, right? But what I realized was this is the biggest movie of all time, okay? And if we go to also Game of Thrones, the biggest TV experience, the most watched TV experience of all time, also happened in the same exact week. So Game of Thrones, very short on persons of color, mostly white, right? This movie very short on the strong females, right? Biggest movie of all time. We have two things impacting culture and pop culture right now, and they don't focus on persons of color,
and they don't focus on
diversity. Focus on women. And while both of these things were set up almost a decade ago, it's still a product of what the times are.
So what does that say that? What does that say about our society or us as viewers? Does that mean that we're just doomed to repeat this level of?
I think no, because I think what this movie did was the right thing, which was focused on the initial story and fulfilling that initial story, even though 10 years ago we weren't where we are now. Right. My hope is that 10 years from where we are right at this point, whether it's Secret Wars, whether it's another story where it's
well, this is what
Nomad from basically that was hinted at with the earthquakes underneath Wakanda. I hope that 10 years from now we're actually in a female-driven
this is what
superhero.
This is what I'll say for them. I feel like you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, because if they're bookending this chapter of their storytelling with the introduction of a female powerhouse superhero like Captain Marvel, then in the same way that Iron Man kind of jumped off this 10-year sort of story arc of telling basically the Infinity Gauntlet saga from the Marvel, then I think we need to give Marvel a little bit of leeway to see where they're going to take the properties now, because they basically handed the torch over to a female character, a strong female character in the Marvel canon that has legs and is established. Like what for me, what I would like to see is what Captain Marvel the movie didn't do was go back and tell the Marvel story, how Marvel, which they changed from a male to a female in the which isn't to say because the Kree can shapeshift and all that whatever, or the Skrulls can shapeshift. It's it gives them a carte blanche to tell a whole new story with diversity in mind, with women in mind, with all these other objects in mind. I think that Marvel is smart enough, based on their track record, to have their finger on the pulse to be like, okay, we're going to, like, one of the things that they've been toying is that this an all-female Marvel story where we take Okoye from Black Panther, and we take all these subsequent, like, basically everybody, all the female characters, superheroes that you see in Endgame can easily make their way or into a one-off film in that way, because
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I think they had their fingers on the pulse 10 years ago, and they're still on that 10 years ago pulse, because that's what makes the best story for that 10 years ago story that started. Right. This new generation, hopefully, which will start now with Black Panther, it's going to be the first movie that Marvel makes out of the docket. Right. Whether that's a prequel that goes back to the year 2006, which I think I read. I pulled it up somewhere. I don't remember where it was. Or whether that's what Black Widow is doing between that 5-year time jump. That could be also an interesting story.
Interesting. Well, it's interesting to me that you got a Wanda and Vision story coming. You got a Black Widow movie coming, which is probably ostensibly going to be a prequel. Yeah, because she's dead. You got a Guardians of the Galaxy 3 coming, which is set
As
to
Guardians of the Galaxy, maybe, because now that Thor's involved, you never know.
or as Guardians of the Galaxy,
Yeah.
which was an actual Marvel property.
Yeah, exactly. So it's a very, I mean, it's a super like interesting time.
Well, I think based on what the numbers that they're going to do for this film alone is going to give Marvel carte blanche to do whatever stories they want to in the coming future.
Yeah. You know what we should do is next week, let's do an Avengers Endgame Part 2. Because I have a lot more stuff that I want to talk about this. A lot more things about the movie.
That's fair.
Maybe we can catch it again and we can pick up a lot more.
I would definitely want to see it again.
Because I'm really interested in also how there was this 5-year time jump, and now that everybody is back, they're coming back almost instantaneous as
Right.
if they never died.
Right.
But everybody else in the past has now lived there for 5 years.
Right, and we don't know a lot of the what transpired. Like we don't know if Aunt May disappeared in the subsequent. We don't
presumably Mary Jane and all of Spider-Man's buddies.
And that's the next film we're seeing in the Marvel canon is Homecoming. Homecoming is what next month?
Far From Home.
Oh yeah,
I don't like
Far
the
From
title,
Home.
but I like Home.
Is it Homecoming and then Far From Home?
Far From Home, yeah.
Okay,
it's too much home.
Yeah,
it's confusing.
Yeah, you gotta flip that.
Yeah, because I have to mentally think about which one it is. It's Far From Home.
But
he's not that far. He's just, I mean, compared to he was in outer space,
right?
In Infinity War,
which
now
is,
he's just like literally a continent over. And he's like Far From Home.
If you think about how Marvel has done it this year alone, Marvel went Captain Marvel, Endgame, Far From Home.
Yeah,
that is kick you in the face good. I feel like
it's good stuff.
A
lot of people place Homecoming as the best Marvel movie. Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah, it's rated really, really high.
The best Marvel movie?
Yeah.
Ahead of Avengers.
Yeah.
That's bullshit.
I know. What about an A-Force movie? It had that shot of all those girls were talking about the biscuit, throwing the biscuit to the, Me Too movement. Like,
right. The diversity of biscuit.
Well, here's the thing. If they came out and they said, we are only going to do female superheroes for the next 10 years,
great.
I'd be at every one of those movies.
Not only that, they would make more money.
You think so?
I absolutely think so.
Maybe.
I think for a lot of it is I think a lot of what garnered Marvel's product right now is that it's male driven, it's male dominated. But I feel like we say it on this show all the time. Yeah. Representation matters.
And when we were sitting in the theater and looking around, there were lots of females,
lots
there,
of women,
super geeking out, super into it.
And that's what I'm saying.
Not that was surprising. I mean, I think that's surprising to people who don't go to these movies. But
how do you think that Captain Marvel, who'd been out literally a month, made $1 billion in the time it took them to bring out Captain Marvel and then subsequently Endgame?
Yeah.
It made $1 billion in the time it took for them to get to Endgame. That's because women are important. They're half of the planet, and they're just as equally into the nerdy shit that like a lot of these creations came from men.
Right.
A lot of these creations came from men, but they have been owned and loved and supported by everyone.
And same with white superheroes being supported by persons of color.
Of course.
Anybody who's not white and not that
Batman is standalone. Like, Batman and Spider-Man are two of my all-time favorite. Like, they are my personal favorite characters of all time. And I don't relate to them on a racial level,
right?
But I relate to them on an emotional and a deeper level than just hey, that looks like me.
Because I definitely relate to Bruce Wayne on a financial level.
Well, I relate to Bruce Wayne on a I'm gonna
penis level.
Well, Avi.
Apparently, apparently about a year ago, they showed Bruce Wayne.
Not even a year, dude. That wasn't a year ago. That was like 4 or 5 months ago. Because I brought it up on the podcast. I was like, "Yo, people are losing their minds because they showed Batman's dick in this comic.
They're going nuts.
They were losing their minds, and it wasn't even like It wasn't even like a full on. It was like in silhouette, like there's a shadow, and they just kind of drew like the. I was like, yo! Bruce Wayne's dick.
You know that artist was cracking up the whole time. Batman's dick.
No, I think that artist was like, oh, they're definitely gonna come for me on this.
Yeah. So, the only last thing, we got like 2 minutes, and then we got to go. I liked Captain Marvel in this a lot.
All right, yeah. Well, what's your favorite? That's what I wanted. What was your favorite moment of this movie?
I don't know.
If you had to pick one, gun to your head moment right now, if you had to pick one, what was your favorite moment of this movie?
I go right to Gwyneth Paltrow saying to Tony Stark, we're all okay. Everything's going to be fine.
Okay.
You took care of us. Like it makes me like, because it's all he wanted for all of this was to know that everybody was okay, and he did it. He had to sacrifice himself. We'll go and we're gonna do part 2 next week. But basically, nobody could hold the Infinity Stones, but he was smart enough to create a suit that could allow him to hold them for a moment to snap without actually holding them, and it killed him. And like, she knew in that moment the one thing that he needed to hear, and to me, that's super powerful. Like Spider-Man was there and just hugging him, and I was like, "Get out of the way, Spider-Man! This fucking Gwyneth Paltrow's here. His fucking wife is here." The mother of his daughter. Get the fuck out of the way, Spider-Man. I know you're important to him, but you're not that important, dude. Get out. You just met him a year ago or 2 years or...
He did hug him. Well, technically,
but get
5 years.
out of the way. What about you? Go.
It was 2. It was the moment where he was having that thing with his daughter, and he was like... She was like, "What? I love you 3,000 or whatever."
Yeah.
And I was like, 1. It was that one, and the moment where Steve Rogers calls the hammer to himself in the battle with Thanos, and you see him wrecking Thanos with the fucking Thor's hammer.
Fat Thor was easily the biggest surprise.
I was going to say that to part 2, you asshole, because Fat Thor was definitely my favorite. Because I was like, oh, look at Fat Thor. Watch them try to make him skinny halfway through this movie, and they didn't.
They get him back.
They didn't. Fat Thor, like I honestly, if he's not a Fat Thor in the rest of these movies, they are not doing themselves a service.
Well, I'm Lawrence Dial. Tune back in next week for part 2 of Endgame. We'll also have episode 4 of Game of Thrones.
Now get some of that. That one is terrible.
You can find us on at whatweinto@gmail.com, What We Into on Facebook, Dial_Lawrence on Twitter, and What We Into Podcast on Instagram.
Yo, and don't forget to just throw some money at the Patreon,
Right. Patreon/whatweinto.com.
I'm your boy, Rob Karma Robinson.
I'm Lawrence Dial. Thank you so much for listening. Part 2 of the Avengers Endgame coming up next week.
And this is What We Into.
Inside the fire. Go to the lodge. Great Wolf Lodge. They've got lots of water. They've got lots of fun. They've got lots of everything for everyone.
An unforgettable family vacation is waiting for you. Great Wolf Lodge. There's no time like a Great Wolf time.
Go to the Great Wolf Lodge.
Start planning at greatwolf.com.